Digimon ones. Did you ever have the square Digimon ones?
No, I think by the time Digimon came out, like I had like the first version back in the day. I think.
Here, bring that shit up to your face. Oh, cool. Yeah, you can maneuver it, MacGyver it, whatever's comfortable for you. Dude, the Digimon were sick though, man. I remember getting those. We used to go so crazy with them after school. And you have to like raise them and get the eggs, and then you could connect them in battle, and that was the best part.
I never got to do any of that stuff. My parents always be like, "You don't need that." I was always, that's for American people. I was like, oh, it was only sad when it was the Tooth Fairy and Disney World. They were like, my tooth came out. My mom was like,
well, dude, cool. Shall we have a little sippy?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, well, guys, welcome back to That's the Angle. And I'm here with Doyle. He is the genius, the man behind Enemies. And super happy to have you on, man. Dude, pleasure. I first started this podcast, I had a list of people who I wanted to interview, and you were like, you're on that list.
I'm very flattered.
And so be at this point, we're going to drink.
Appreciate it. Definitely.
Yeah, you said you like whiskey, right?
Yeah, definitely. Bourbon, whiskey.
Yeah, when I went to your shop the other day, I was like, oh, I'm gonna check everything out. You know, it's only right that I do some like field research and whatever. Yeah. And then you said you'd like a little bit of whiskey, and I was like, well, finally an excuse to drink on the show.
Oh, you don't drink on the show usually? Sometimes?
It just never comes up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. They always try to, a lot of podcasts I've been on, they always have the liquor.
Really?
Sometimes I get real sauced up and get excited.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're getting all the juice today. Hey, cheers, bro.
Yes.
Hey, dude, I'm on my way here. Turns out, I didn't take a sip of this shit. Oh, damn.
Well, that's smooth.
Basil Hayden's is good.
Basil Hayden's a winner.
Shout out Basil Hayden's.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, on the right here, someone reposted on their story that they had watched one of my podcasts.
Yeah.
And that they literally put their 2 weeks in at their job because they were inspired from that podcast.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
sweet.
I interviewed some like wedding photographer, and he like told this whole thing. You know, he listened to it and he felt inspired, and so he quit and everything. I was like, what? Can you believe that?
Yeah. Sometimes it's scary a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Like people tell me stuff like that, and I'm like,
really?
Oh, I mean, I think when you're on the creative journey and you're doing it, and you decided to let go of all the safety harnesses and just free willy.
Yeah.
And it's just like people just see it and they admire it. And sometimes I don't think people know.
I think it's
tough it is sometimes, but hey, you got to find out if it's for you or not.
I think it's one of those things that looks really cool and sounds really fucking cool.
It's pretty cool though.
It is really cool, especially if you're able to make it work.
Exactly. But it's not easy. And I think that's the thing that really, really, really like kills people, is that it's not easy. But yeah, who knows? I
mean, well, especially in clothing, like something that you're in, it's, you know, it's not something that everyone needs. Oh, you know, same thing with me. Not everyone needs photography. So it's like, how do we try to make people want what we have? You gotta. It's all about the smoke and mirrors, and it's like a needs and wants thing. You kind of try to make things. To be honest, in the clothing business, people buy their wants more than they do their needs most times. Really? Most people should be buying like socks and underwear because that really wears out before sneakers do. Facts. Like, I know probably a bunch of guys got like really nice sneakers, but you know, they probably need to go to the Target and buy some new underwear. So, you know, it's not really like, and you're thinking about what you're going to wear now opposed to like what you're going to wear later. So it's just like, and most people, they don't really have it like that to buy it in advance. So it's all about like now. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's kind of like a need, but it's really like people, when it comes to like buying their casual clothes, all about wants. That's why everybody buys athletic shoes, even though they like kind of think they're going to work out in them. Yeah. But it never really makes it out to being a workout shoe. It just becomes their casual shoe. That's what it is. Well, it's interesting because would you say you're like a streetwear brand? I think so. I think I would epitomize a streetwear brand. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the classification is. Is it like, is it like what you wear with it? I think the way it is just like, it's probably like streetwear is probably like something along the lines of like a Stussy, which Stussy is like the Levi's of streetwear. They're the first people to do it. That's a fact, man. So like, you know, it's, I think it's really a lot of things that's like based in graphic art and some components of stealing a little bit. The first Stussy sign that was stealing is like the double S is the Chanel sign. You know, it's the double C changed into the double S. So with that is like the birth of streetwear. So it's always going to be like elements of stealing from something else, maybe high end or something like that. And it's a lot of like graphic art. It's just graphic art that's being printed onto shirts, stuff like that. Some of the more higher end brands can do cut and sew, but it's not necessarily like that. I mean,
when you say it like that, it sounds very like rebellious, but almost like it came from graffiti culture in a weird way.
Yep, something like that, pretty much. Because I think it's like skateboarding, graffiti culture, hip hop, all those things really make like a streetwear culture. Also like sports culture as well. But I think it's just that like whole like if you're from that late '90s or early 2000s era, like that whole era inspired that whole time.
Yeah, so for sure.
I guess it's kind of like coming back now. I guess
it's like, what's the graffiti mantra? Breakdancing, writing, and then DJing. I think now in the new age, you could throw clothing in there.
Definitely, because there's just as many clothing brands as there are rappers or anything. There's way more clothing brands than there are graffiti designers.
I mean, dude, like as someone in photography came who like I see clothing brands pop up all the time. I can't tell you how many streetwear brands I've seen pop up in like the last year where I'm just like, oh, okay, like that's cool. I'm glad you found a good font, you know? And it's like no shade to them. Like I respect the hustle and everything, but with you and Enemies, it seems like you've like ascended that, like you're above it all.
Well, I don't want to say that. I just I come through I come through the DMV like a retail chain. So I've been involved in selling clothes in the district or the DMV area since like the early 2000. I want to say 2001. I first started working for Up Against the Wall as like a sales associate. So, I've been in the game for a long time. Really like getting dressed and wearing nice clothes is something I always wanted to do anyway. But I really, when I first wanted to do everything, we just wanted to make a brand. Well, I wanted to make my brand be something that could be where you could see it on a national stage and you would never have to be like, oh, that's from DC or that's from this or that's from that. You just look at it as a shirt and you just be like, oh, that's a dope shirt.
Like no one could look at it and be like, oh, that's clearly for this group of people or it's clearly like this. Like,
exactly.
It embraces everyone.
Kind of, sort of. We try to make enough stuff where it's like that with a brand name like Enemies Forever. It kind of encompasses a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You do sports.
It's kind of a dark name, I think, but Enemies Forever, man.
Yeah.
Who did you hate when you made that name?
Well, apparently I hate a lot of people. Or apparently they don't like me either. But it's cool. I mean, it's kind of like I hate to tell this to people, but all the time it's just like you give your friends advice when they're going through problems, and I always tell them something when they're going through problems with their friends, and they're like, "Oh, I thought that person was my friend," and you're just always like, "Friendship is not forever."
Dude, those are facts.
Enemies are, and that's usually the case with most people. You know,
I never thought about it like that. Yeah,
I wanted to. People always ask me about like the name. I think a lot of people be like sad sometimes because it's not an acronym. And I'll be like, that's 14 letters, bro.
Yeah, what could Enemies mean? What could each letter mean?
I have no clue. Yeah, right. I'd be like, oh, maybe if we did some more stronger drugs, we could get to that. But I don't know. Like, but for me, Enemies Forever has just always meant like, it's just like, yeah, I don't like you, and it's forever, and we don't have no problems. And then, to be honest with you, there's like everybody can kind of relate with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always somebody that somebody doesn't like, and they just be like, "Yeah, I don't have no problem that you don't like me. I don't like you, and it is what it is."
Yeah, we're just enemies. We're just cool. We're gonna kick it like that.
Definitely.
But dude, that's like a really interesting thing that you mentioned about like friendships versus enemies, dude. Like, I've always had this weird philosophy in life that like friends are like waves on the beach. And they come in, they come out. Sometimes they stay for longer. Sometimes they go on. But like, there's like a natural ebb and flow of like friendships in your life.
Definitely.
You know? And I guess Enemies is just like the whale on the beach that just doesn't die.
Definitely. I mean, you could probably got into a beef like years ago with somebody who might even be like still in your proximity. And they might do something well, but you're enemies. So you're just always going to be aware, and you're always going to feel that way. Like, man, I want to do better than him. And I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. I think there's lately like people who have gone away from like competition too, which is really like sad. Like,
you like the competition?
I like the competition. I mean, if there was a way to monetize it, like if they like, we should just have all out battles all the time between each other. Like not in a personal kind of way.
Yeah.
But I came up with the whole. We did Enemies versus Eat a couple years ago.
I was there.
And in my mind, I was like, we're just gonna market it like a boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
And then at first we thought about doing some like foolery, like making some fake beef and like acting foolish.
Some like internet hype shit, some
But
Instagram. But
I
beef.
think at that moment we just like realized that like Malik is like he's real influential. I'm not as influential as on Instagram, but you know I knew a lot of people and like you know I grew up in DC as well, so we thought putting a positive spin on it would be the best thing to do, and really it was great. Like it was a real time. We saw like the old DC, new DC, a lot of people come out and like really enjoy an event that was made for everybody.
I mean, that was a cool event. I mean, the promo was really cool. I could tell it was inspired by the Basquiat Andy Warhol original photo, and you guys were there with the boxing gloves. And I was like, oh, this is genius. I was like, this is good.
I mean, we did a lot of stuff for that pop-up. Like we were the first people like that I remember. We had I want to say what is my man's name? I forget his name, but we created a Street Fighter, the 8-bit image where it says like enemies versus eat, and then it's like says fight, and then the images change into our thing and they like collide into each other. And it's like it's like crazy stuff we did. Like I wish we could have just like kept on going doing stuff like that. Unfortunately, it just costs a lot of money to do stuff like that. But it was a great experience. Like I don't think, to be honest, like anybody has really replicated that moment since we did that.
I mean, that felt like a big event. Like that felt, when I saw that at that point, I was like, dang, this is like DC's two clothing brands really actually doing it on a scale that could be national. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I knew I couldn't miss it. But like for you, how were you viewing that whole event? Because it seems like you had like a lot of respect for Eat and what they're doing.
Well, I mean, like me and Malik, I didn't know Malik personally, but I knew his brother Melvin, who runs the business side. And we known each other for some years. He and my friend, one of my investors, they grew up together in DC. So it's like, you know, it was a natural thing.
Oh, shit, really you got investors?
Yeah, I have one.
That's dope. Investors tight.
One. And I have some other people I owe money to, but they're friends. But you know, it's there was a lot of knocks on Eat coming up.
Try and keep that mic around your face.
So basically, there was a lot of knocks on Eat. Like they were like, everybody's talking about, it's just a shirt that you do iron on, hit. But I'm walking around DC and I'm seeing it every 4 steps I take. Somebody has a hat on or shirt on, or it's up on the wall somewhere, and they're having events and stuff. And I'm just like, they're the biggest brand in town.
Like it didn't matter how it was made. It's like, more about the impact, I guess.
Yeah, like, you know, in the younger day, people would like not hate. I mean, people usually hate on stuff because they can't do it. Just to be honest, like, you know, like you could see him sell patch t-shirts and it'd probably make you mad, but you can't sell patch t-shirts. So of course you're going to be mad about it.
What do you mean patch t-shirts?
Like he was ironing. He just had like the iron on patch onto the shirt. And then people were getting mad that he was selling those out left and right.
Like why can he do it and why can't everyone else?
Or like, why are people buying that, or whatever the case may be. But the reality is, what you should be thinking about is, how is he getting everyone to buy this? And for some reason, a lot of people never felt that way. And the first thing I thought of was like, man, this shit is everywhere. We got to get on this. I need to find out. I need to get with this guy, because he, to me, like, he still is the biggest brand in DC. Anybody want to say any other brand? Malik has like a 50-store deal with Downtown Locker Room. That's excluding his deal with Shoe City.
That's real shit. That's real
you know
deals.
What I mean? So it's like, you can't, like, and I think I was one of the first people to reach out and try to work with him and try to do something big. And we did something big, and I felt great about it.
But you can only do that when you've built something yourself.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, in the clothing industry, like in the area, like I worked with Core, I worked with Up Against the Wall, Back of House. Like a lot of people, they know us. Like we just been in the clothing industry for like so long, and being like a clothing creative, really, I didn't really feel like it was possible.
Really,
like, until maybe 2014, I might thought it would have been possible, because clothing started to change. Really? Like streetwear didn't make me feel like I could do streetwear. the long line clothes and like different, remember everybody was wearing like long shirts, tight pants. Everybody looked like they were going to start like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. everyone had the fuckboy fit.
And then I was like, I can make that kind of clothes. So I had started a brand with one of the owners of Back of House. His name's Kevin. We started a brand and we made those kind of clothes, like long line clothes, biker jeans.
But it wasn't
like
Enemies back then.
No, it wasn't. I was called Amongst Us. We did one season. Kevin got real busy. Things just didn't work out for a second season. So I just moved on and I went in with another person to do another brand, which is called Unexpected, which I fully like designed everything from head to toe. I drew out all the things. And it was pretty cool.
Like you designed the garments?
The garments, yes. Like from head to toe, I measured everything. Whoa. The only thing at that time, that was my first time doing it. And it wasn't like I had any experience doing it. It kind of was really janky. So I had gotten this manufacturing deal in Pakistan. And I just started talking to him about like, what can I do? He just says, send me a picture of what you like or, do it however you think. Yeah. And I would just like send over. So I would find things that I would like. And I would take the measurements off of those items.
That's slick.
And then I would recreate the items with new pieces onto it with those measurements because I knew that's how something would fit.
Dude, that's so smart, right? As opposed to trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, my manufacturer wasn't that good, though. But, like, we made a bunch of stuff, and it kind of was okay at first. But, like, it's kind of disheartening going into, like, Zara or H&M and then realizing that, like, they can make something maybe slightly better than yours for $12.
Yeah, that
retail.
It has to be interesting. It has to be interesting feeling like walking to a store and look at all this fast fashion. You're just like,
it's like, fuck, you're right there because I can't afford to get like some kind of Italian, like some higher end stuff. So I was just like, oh, okay. So we got into about like 2.5 seasons of it. And then I just was like really at a rough point because at that time my partner was like, I think your designs are okay, Doyle. No problem with the designs. He said, our manufacturer sucks.
Dang.
And he's like, if like we can't do it, I don't want to really put up like, because we were selling like $18,000 over to Pakistan. Like if the guy wanted to run away, he could have just ran away with the money,
That's so sketchy.
So we just did it and it always worked out, but
how did you meet someone? Was it like Alibaba or something?
So Kevin met a guy who's doing manufacturing in England, but he wasn't doing the actual he was an agent. What you'll find in like the clothing manufacturing industry, you think you might know the manufacturer, but oftentimes you just know an agent.
Oh, shit.
And he's over there, he's taking your order. You're like, oh, I need these jackets. So like all these other like manufacturers, so you take the order to them and be like, you make jackets, right?
Oh, so that's probably what he's doing. That's
what most people are doing over there. So, that's what happens. So we meet the guy. I actually get into it with the guy in England. And I'm like, you stealing from him. Actually, like I put up like, I want to say maybe like $7,000 or $8,000 to get the whole order made like the first time. And then like it was getting delayed and I got real wild with the guy via email and on like Skype or something.
Damn.
And then he just ended up giving me the Pakistan. You just talk to him directly. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And I was like, okay, cool. And then, it just took us like 1.5 years to figure out that the problem was that the manufacturer's kind of bad. And he just wasn't like a manufacturer. He was an agent.
I guess it's hard with the brand because you're trying to line up all these things for seasons. So then you're dealing with
like at that time, I had no clue.
What do you mean?
Bless you. Like I was in the industry, understood like buying, but I never understood like, okay. I understood like we're going to make winter clothes because it's hot right now. My brain understood that. But I was like trying to get it in on time, trying to make everything work. Even like the fabrics. Like I'm thinking, it's the first time making clothes. Like, they'll pick something good for me. Actually, one thing they did do is they never really gave me poopy fabric.
Hey, that's what's up.
They couldn't really sew like really great straight lines, but like the fabric wasn't poopy.
Well, I feel like the thing with clothing brands is like it feels like you can have a shirt, get it printed anywhere now with like D2G stuff, get it fulfilled and everything. But the whole thing that's nuts for everyone is actually getting manufacturers and then actually getting it in shelves or getting like accounts?
I don't think that's that hard nowadays, to be honest, because I've already had accounts with I had I want to say a 20 store deal with Shoe City, and then I had like a 16 store deal with Downtown Locker Room.
It's got to be pretty sweet.
It's kind of cool. Like the price break is a little different, and it's not like a 50-50 Keystone deal. They get a little bit more of the profit than you would probably want to give them, and it's like on a 30-day type, payment system. So it's like, it's cool, but at the same time, I had to pull out of those stores because to engage those kind of like purchases and buys, got to put up so much money. And to be honest, the breakdown and you getting it back, yeah, you're going to get it back, but it's really like I'm working really hard for not what I think I should get. And then on top of that, going into those retailers, I think every DMV brand should think, unless you've accelerated to another level already, you should always keep the door open for Downtown Locker Room and Shoe City because they're the local chains.
Yeah, they put you in like the circulation of the local hype.
They'll at least give you like, if you're pretty decent, you have hype behind your brand, they'll listen to you.
Oh,
They'll invite you. They'll if you reach out to them, your brand's good. Like I've went to meetings there and they have no problem dealing with me. But I tell everybody, unless the reason I pulled out of those deals or I didn't pursue them again was just because I got my own store. And at that point, it was just like, okay, I could move a ton of product, but
have more of a margin and not have to deal with all that shit.
It also, like when I went into Shoe City and Downtown Locker Room, like a lot of people were not happy. Like a lot of people in the customer base, they were kind of like, "Oh, you were just in Ubik, and you did this stuff with Ubik, and you did this." And yeah, it's true, but like I was like, where else am I gonna make some money?
What do you mean? Why weren't they happy that you were in other stores?
I mean, like I started out at a higher level, but like I don't think the DMV consumer is like aware of like how the clothing industry works. It's just like they're thinking like, oh, maybe you should get into like concepts and like go to New York and
how
like
exactly does it work? I feel like I'm like maybe in that crowd.
The way the Ubik thing worked out was I met a gentleman by the name Paul Lee. He was the creative director of Ubik at the time. He had followed me on Instagram for some while, and then we met one day. It was right before Ubik had opened in Washington, D.C. So we met up and we talked for a while. He was really nice. He just was like, he really wanted to help me. And he said, Doyle, I'm going to let you have the first pop-up at Ubik, D.C.
Damn.
Out of everybody in the entire Washington, D.C. area. I was like, sweet.
Yeah, and just for context for anyone listening, Ubik is in perhaps one of the best parts of DC in Georgetown, where they have like all the top bougie places. Everyone goes there. So there's a lot of visibility because they're right there on the street. And then also they sell like the newest, latest shoes, the latest brands, all the cool fashion mags. Definitely. Like they're kind of like that store.
So when they first opened up, Paul gave me the opportunity to go there. A lot of people try and make it seem like we were friends. But I mean, I think me and Paul are friends, but they try to make it seem like we've known each other for like a long time, but I had never met him until like a month or not in person, or never even spoke to him really until like a month before that pop-up. And he gave me the opportunity to do it. I mean, to be honest, I think still like if you don't count like Air Max Day or something like that, I probably have one of the best pop-ups that ever happened at Ubik.
Damn.
It was just as full as Air Max Day, but it was
Air Max Day was insane. I went to that just thinking it'd be like some walk-in thing. Oh no, I was completely wrong. I was down the block.
I went last year and they gave me a panic attack and I had to like get out. It was like it got so hot. Like not only was it
do you hate being in like social like a lot of people in social settings?
Kind of. I kind of do. Like especially like if it feels like people are getting like standing on top of each other or whatever and it's really hot, I just can't deal with it.
Well, it's got to be like that for you because everyone wants a little piece of like clout photo with you, right?
Not really. I mean, to be honest, maybe it's the way I move around, but people always tell me that they feel like I'm not approachable. And maybe it's because like I might wear like a stoic face or something like that.
You do have a very stoic, natural resting face.
But
dude, you have
to me the moment you talk to me, I'm like, hey, what's up?
You're the nicest dude ever. Like you have the best laugh I think I've ever heard of anyone in my life.
The best or the worst. So it's just like at the end of the day though, I just like wondering like why people feel that way. But I get it. You know, I'm not really. People don't know I got like social anxiety. Like I'm not
I know how to act around people because I worked retail for 10 years. I grew up in a household where like my parents went to work all the time, and me and my brother, like we raised ourselves. So my social skills wasn't really good till I was like an adult.
Oh, wow.
So if I'm like out in a place, if I don't really feel comfortable, normally I just don't talk.
And you grew up in DC, you said?
Yeah, I grew up in Maryland. So I'm from Silver Spring.
Okay.
When I was around 16, I get a job in DC Department of Parks and Recreation. So I go to DC around that time to teach Taekwondo. That's my specialty. Like to work as Taekwondo camp at Banneker down on Georgia Avenue. So it's 1998. That's my first job. That parlays into 6 years at the DC Department of Parks and Recreation.
Whoa. Teaching Taekwondo?
Yeah, for the most part, that was my specialty. So I was in the hood.
Did you ever compete?
Yeah. So I was pretty okay, I want to say. Like I fought as a kid, and then I started fighting adult when I was 14. I competed in the United States National Collegiate Tournament when I was 14. They gave me like a fake ID.
Damn.
And I lost though. I don't want to say that one.
Were you like a grown ass looking kid at 14, or were you just like?
I think I was. I think I had experienced my first growth spurt, and I was like just this like a gangly. I was only like 5'7", but like my weight class, I only weighed like 110 pounds, so that made me like way taller than everybody that was in that weight class.
Oh, so you had like longer legs than everyone.
And I really never really. I trained with adults all my life, so it wasn't like fighting an adult would be like something new. It'd just be. I never was scared of you if he was my size. Like I was like, oh, it's cool. You're my size.
Like the power differential from like a kid to an adult's probably insane. But if you're training with them, it's
exactly.
Like,
and I mean, I never. Not during those times.
Did you ever kick any adults unconscious? That ever happen?
I've knocked a few people out doing Taekwondo.
Damn.
Like it's pretty great, to be honest with you. When you knock somebody out, it really feels like you took their soul. Like I don't know if you played.
I've actually never knocked someone out before.
If you played Mortal Kombat and then you did use Shang Tsung, and at the end he takes your soul. That's how it feels when you knock.
I mean, that's got to
out.
be a feeling to like kick someone in the head and see them on the floor like lifeless. Like that's got to be like a powerful, but also like. It's an insane feeling that not many people have experienced.
I guess. I mean, if you do combat sports, like that kind of stuff, I think everybody should do combat sports, to be honest.
Why?
I think it just makes you really understand real life. Real life is very similar to combat sports. Like in combat sports, if you don't stop somebody from hitting you in their face, they're going to hit you in the face.
Sounds like a business metaphor.
Yeah, definitely. Like in real life, nobody's out here playing like nice. Like I mean, few people are, and you don't really expect nice when you're out here. You just hope to get honorable after you figure out that nobody's playing nice. But martial arts teach you like you keep your guard up all the time. Don't let like this crap happen to you. So it's just like that, and then it teaches you about like how life's not fair. Like you could train as hard as you like, and there'll be some kid. That was me back in the kid. That's why I don't do Taekwondo as a grown up now, because I beat up a lot of grown-ups, and I think there's going to be some kid that's going to knock me out.
Yeah, it's like you can be as good as you want, but there could be someone who's just way gifted and has way longer legs than you.
Like,
just freaking
or whatever it is, like somebody's going to be better than you. But it kind of gets you to understand that early. Or most kids that play sports learn that really fast. Mm-hmm. They don't really have that kind of like pent-up thing where they're like, oh, the world is against me.
It teaches you like humility. Like you're not, you can be so good, but at some point there's always gonna be someone who's like at least talented baseline better than you. And you can only like work hard at it.
Or sometimes, though, but what you realize though, like life's like, sometimes it goes like this, like the talented guy, he decides he doesn't want to work that hard. And then you just, so I think it's just like, I wish people would stop thinking like so hopelessly. Like if you would just think more like, I always tell kids all the time, like, you should try that. They'd be like, what if they say no? I'd be like, well, they're not going to say no forever. As long as you don't fuck up that bad, like you could go back and you could just come back. Or you should always ask, how can I get you to say yes? That's when people tell me no.
That's a good one. How can I get you to say yes?
Because I feel like if we're in a good position and we're doing a negotiation, you're considering it. And then, unless it's just like an immediate no, then it's like, But if you're like, I don't thought about it. And I'm like, what do you think's wrong? Like, well, how can I get you to feel different about it if it's possible? And if they tell me what it is, I mean, I should be able to come back next time and be able to get a yes. But I don't think people think that way. They just get a no. Especially like, we were talking about earlier, like how everybody sees a creative out there and they're like, oh, he's living the life. We get no's all the time.
Yeah, man.
You try to throw somebody alley-oop and then they like think that you're trying to take advantage of them. and you're like, what? Like, and it doesn't want to. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to like cut down on anybody, but like I have something like I have this to offer you, and I'm trying to offer to you as like a nice guy gift, and you're like you're trying.
You mean like, for example, like how you do events out of your store?
Yeah. I've had people turn me down, and I'll never really take it personally.
Like they thought it was too nice or something.
No, they thought it was. It's probably not politically aligned. Sometimes people feel as though like, you know, I'm trying to little bro them, and it's never that. Like I always want to.
Such a pride thing when people feel like you're trying to little bro me. Like don't they realize that you're giving them a platform?
I remember when I first did Enemies, right? And I did Ubic, Philadelphia, and I did another pop-up with another brand out in Virginia at the Block, and then we went to do Ubic. DC, then we did that, and then we did Ubic, Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, where do we go from here? And where do I go in my own hometown?
That's a great question.
Funds to sell my clothes in person. And to be honest, if there was any retail store, a decent one, like a real one, like, and I no knock to anyone else, but if you have like wholesale accounts and things like that, it makes it look way better when I come into your spot. I would have jumped at the opportunity. So I went to Back of House in Pentagon City and started doing stuff there. But like if anyone would have asked me to be like, hey, would you come to my store and do a pop-up? I would just go out there and check it out. And if you have traffic, then we coming. That's how it used to be. But it's like a lot of these guys, well, I mean, a lot of these guys throw 2 pop-ups a year, and they're more concerned about like the local rapper wearing their clothes.
That does seem to be the trend where it's like, we're just going to pop up and not really have much of a spot or something.
Yeah, that, and like, I mean, it's cool when you say it's a hobby. You know, like just go ahead and say it. It's your hobby. And that's fair. And I don't think I'm dissing anybody by saying that. But like if you only do it 2 times a year,
that's a hobby.
That's a hobby, bro. You can think about it all you like. You post on Instagram all you like. But it's a hobby.
Is it not necessarily because it's a pop-up, or just it's like the amount of effort that goes into it?
It's just like you can't tell people that you design clothes if you don't design clothes but 2 times a year. You should tell them what you do for 40 hours a day and say, that's what I do, but I do like to design clothes on the side. I think there's no shame in that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why everybody's like so shamed about their like 9 to 5 now. Most of these guys are like IT professionals. Like you make $80,000, $90,000 a year. And I'm wondering why like you're buying 100 drinks at the club. Yeah. And I'm like, I just thought you were like a photographer or something. They're like, nah, Doyle. They don't pay me to do this stuff. I make plenty of money at my regular job. I'm like, oh. And to be honest, it's like the town is so full of really talented people who got normal careers.
That is the biggest fact I've ever heard. That essentially sums up like DC's creative field for a lot of people.
I think it's also, like, it kind of works back and forth because it's like, say you're an IT professional, you do cybersecurity. That's what your full-time job is.
Sounds soul draining.
Right? And then on the weekends, you take photos or whatever, but you're dope as fuck.
Yeah.
But you out here and you're charging everybody free or the homie price. Kind of like messes up the water for the other photographers. And that's just...
Bro, I'm glad you get that. I'm glad you get that.
I don't have no personal problem with anybody, but it's just like, you got to understand what you're doing when you do it that way. Especially when your quality's good. When your quality's good, you should be able to at least command some kind of money.
In a way like that, it's like there's tons of people in DC, and I guess specifically speaking about photography, it's they actually are semi-decent at taking photos, and they're willing to shoot with anyone in these brands for freaking nothing because they don't care. They just want the opportunity, the exposure, the or whatever it is. And then someone like me comes along and they're like, and they go, you want how much? I'm like, yeah, bitch. Like I gotta pay bills this month. Like This is some real stuff. And do you experience that too?
Yeah, I mean everybody experiences it. Everybody tries to like not try to pay you for stuff. It's like a DC thing. It's like the finesse thing. Like finessing to me is like, I used to think the term finesse, I used to always like relate it to my friends who are a little bit older than me who never had a job, but like they got a wife and they never have to work. But
that's some
they
finesse.
Always got money. They got a nice car. They don't sell drugs, but apparently they've been living off their wife and their women all their life. Well, that's finessing. But like you just purposely trying to not pay somebody is just low class. Like I'm there's a lot of people out here. That's cool. Like you want to give me exposure, just tell me that up front or something. Like, everybody beats around the bush about money in this town. And it's just like, okay, I don't want to rape you. You can't afford something. Let me know you can't afford something. I'm not here to be like that.
Well, with your brand, you guys are like the higher level too of like a price point. Like the hoodie's like $95.
Hoodie's $95.
That's nothing to joke at. But you know, it was a nice ass hoodie.
Oh yeah, we trying to. What we figured out is if I make them at 65 or 75, those blanks that I have to use, they're terrible. When you wash them, they don't wash well. It's really like a very temporary kind of product. And I really don't want to get that to my consumer. Like it really is like one thing that DC people or the DMV brands in general, a lot of them put out bad product to their customers sometimes. And they just really don't care.
They don't care about that. It's like a Gildan shirt they're printing on.
If it's, there's, people are aware about Gildan, there's like multiple levels of Gildan you can buy. And then like, but there's some things that's just like some people are just selling bad products. And then, to be honest, it's like the services sometimes are even worse than the products. Like the people that you have to use sometimes to get the products made, it just be weird. Like everybody's like in this town is like when they do something creative, they like create this false pride where they start judging your brand and what you qualify for. Like, bro, you're in services. Like you're supposed to love giving me services. Like, so I could do what I look like. But it's like, oh, everybody's like Judge Dredd, and they're like they're like, oh.
You seem a little jaded about this area a little bit.
Sometimes. Well, actually, a lot of times. But, like, I don't want to say, like, I don't ever want to talk about crabs in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
That's whack. That's weak, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I keep on making clothes. I keep on doing what I have to do. But the only thing is just, like, I just be so tired about all this make-believe stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone feeling like they're the judge, the jury, the executioner, their word is the end all. I mean, at the end of the day, like we all got to look around. A lot of people don't get respect because there's no way to gauge who's cool and who's not cool.
Followers, bro. Followers. How many followers you got? That's how you know, right?
To be honest, like everyone who makes clothes in town, I can tell you one thing. They might not like my brand. They might not like me. Or they might like me. They might like my brand. But they have to respect me. It's not like you could tell me my clothes suck. That's fine. But you can always, if you could tell me my clothes suck, you should also know that I release clothes like every week.
You do. We do a lot of drops.
Like, every week. I'm making stuff constantly. Like we're trying to like really make a brand. And I'm working with other brands to try to make their stuff better, trying to give people a platform to win. And then it's just like,
I think a lot of people do something once or twice, like maybe a pop-up twice a year or something, and they feel all gassed up and they start trying to give everyone advice and opinions and stuff on how they should run their business.
I'll tell you the secret about the pop-up. This is how you do the pop-up.
Okay, right. Here's the secret pop-up sauce.
Right? You're a local independent guy. It's your first go-around. You try to get you a venue. After you get you a venue, sort that all out, then you got to get you at least 25 people to come. Those 25 people should be your closest friends, followed by your family, your cousin, maybe even your mom or dad. Because you want to know something, they're going to come and buy something.
These are facts.
Right? Once you get those 25 people set, your event's going to be kind of cool because there's going to be people there.
It'll look decent.
It'll look decent. There'll be people buying stuff, not sitting up and drinking your free alcohol. And then you go from there. And then the thing is, you can call on those people twice a year. You can't really call on them every week to come make your pop-up tight. So yeah, it's fine. So what we got to figure out is what I had to figure out is like how I'm going to make constant money all the time. And it's really doing the drops. Like,
you feel like that kind of generates hype around it, or
kind of, but what really generates hype around stuff around here is like, it's sad. If I tell somebody they can't have it, they want it so bad.
Really?
But if like, I just made a Dennis Rodman shirt and I said, it's just for me, not for sale. Just went nuts.
Everybody went nuts. I want one. I want one.
I made it available. So we sent a rack of them. It was like, oh man. So we make this. I make the Gilbert Arenas one after that. And then it's just like, oh, okay, I'll make it for sale. The hype around is great, but selling's not really as great because they don't feel like whatever.
It seems like there's like you always got to build hype for drops.
That's what it is though. But
like,
I mean,
it's like, what's the secret for building hype? Is it like you said, you can't have it or only that person or one exists, and then we're gonna drop it for just 24 hours.
Exactly. And then they just pile in line. But it's cool though, because I think what I've been doing, or a lot of us have been doing, is we've been complaining about the game instead of trying to figure out what works. I think I had to be in it long enough though.
How long have you been doing the enemies? I guess
enemies were going on year 3.
Wow.
So to be honest, like if you look at other brands and brands that have been around for a long time, like I'm doing better than. But I also had.
You have a lot of experience,
12 years of retail.
You've been in the game.
Being a buyer. I understand like a lot of stuff. So it's like, me winning is not really surprising to me. But like, I still had the same DMV kind of like issues because being like a Mid-Atlantic brand. Mm-hmm. Mid-Atlantic's not really viewed as like a cool place. Actually, the opinion is changing quickly. About the Mid-Atlantic, like in Maryland, the DMV in general.
So that's like that's the Mid-Atlantic when I go in buyer terms. That's the Mid-Atlantic.
Like Philadelphia, North Carolina. I think it's down to like North Carolina, and everything in that middle area of America. So the only brand to ever come out of the Mid-Atlantic and go national and do really well is Black Label out of Virginia Beach.
Really?
They had like they made like 100. I want to say like 90 or 120 $1 million in like 3 years or something like that. Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
how they do it?
Oh, it caught waves. Like so, they I want to say it was around like 2005 or 6. I want to say Affliction and Ed Hardy is really popular during that time.
I remember that.
The local the designer of Black Label was his name's Somos. He's local, still around. He and then the founder Mike Black actually worked for Shoe City now as buyer. They kind of like combined the flavors that were going on with the Ed Hardy, Ink Slingers, and like Affliction at that time, and they made it for like they wanted to give the African American crowd something that they weren't getting, and they gave it to them, and it just exploded. Like exploded. To be honest, I've never seen somebody do that like that ever in my entire life.
Like they hit the pin right on the head.
Yeah, it was
with
just
that?
like it just came right at the perfect moment. And to be honest, I really didn't even like the clothes. I've never even worn the clothes to be.
But you can respect the hell out of it.
I mean, as a business person, there's no way not to respect that. Like, and that's a lot of things we're losing nowadays. Like, somebody could tell you this and that, and you'd be like, "You're not cool on the internet," and you'd be like, "Bruh," like that doesn't really count in real life. But I don't know about like the DMV. I'd probably want to say maybe. There might be 10 or 12 people that are really making a living on the internet in the DMV.
It's a hard thing to do.
From my knowledge. There might be some people who do like political analysis or something that I'm not.
And by on the internet, do you mean like selling goods or on Instagram?
Or like Instagram, YouTube.
Okay. Bro, I don't know anyone personally who makes a full-time living from YouTube or anything on the internet.
I would imagine that there might be somebody who does some political stuff in DC. But I don't, outside of that spectrum, I don't really see a lot of people doing it. You know, so I just wonder about it.
Random enough, I looked up today because I finally have monetization on YouTube, and I was curious. I'm like, oh, I made $10 in the last 28 days. Cool, thanks YouTube. Like, all right, you know. But I was curious, like, how much would I actually have to make to pay rent? You know, like let's say I wanted to pay like $1,000 a month, and so I looked up. This guy had a video. He said, how much do I make with 30,000 subscribers? He made $6,000 in a year. I was like, whoa, that's like. Not bad, but to get 30,000 is a lot of work. People don't realize that.
I mean, I don't really watch Casey Neistat.
Dude, he makes stupid money.
But it does from your breakdown. He might make stupid money, but it doesn't sound like he's making that much stupid money from YouTube. Just YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that like the only thing is, as a culture. I've been real critical of our own culture too, because I got chip on my shoulder. I wish things would go better sometimes, but they don't. But at the same time, I also see myself as the problem sometimes too.
Really?
Like, yeah, or not myself in general, but like if I'm feeling a certain kind of way, I need to learn not to express that because of my personal situation or whatever. Business isn't going good. That's nobody's business. To be honest, on Instagram, you'll never really see me say too much on Instagram. For the business page, you'll never see anything other than clothing related or slightly lifestyle related to the
Yeah, you're not
clothes.
really on your story,
Yeah.
like being like, yo, what's up? It's Doyle.
I kind of wish I could. No, I can. The thing is, I think I'm pretty, it's going to sound stupid, but I think I'm pretty entertaining. I think the moment I start picking up the phone and start talking into the phone, I think I might be pretty popular. But at the same time, I really don't want that attention. I want the attention that you think my clothes are tight. For now. Later, I might pick up the phone, but for now, like I put all this energy into wanting people to like my clothes and buy my clothes and wanting people to see how hard I'm working. And I want it that way. I want the guy who wears the original Supreme to look at my clothes and said, that guy did it the right way. And to be honest, a lot of the OG like streetwear people from the area, they hit me up and they always congratulate me and they always let me know like, we appreciate that you're doing it the right way. And I have no clue what that means.
Yeah. I
But
don't know what
like,
that means.
I'm not out here trying to make like, I'm not using politics or like pop culture to try to, I might steal some pop culture like references or something, but I'm not going to use that to make money.
But that's natural. It's natural to be influenced by things. Yeah,
definitely. But like, I really would like for people to like appreciate what I do and it just be that. Maybe after that, maybe I might pick up the phone and start. I have this secret that I'm going to be a comedian after the whole. I make this success.
Dude, I could totally see that. I could totally see that.
Get on stage and when I suck, I'll be like, I'm rich. I don't care.
I mean, there's something to be said about like the guy who looks really freaking cool online or on the internet ain't making that much money, but maybe someone who has a super successful brand, but you just don't really know who they are behind the shadows.
Honest, it's the same way. Like, to be honest, there's not a lot of money in making clothes in the DMV. Everybody always wants to make it seem like, oh, like, just, I want to say, if we're going to talk about local brands, hyper local, we're going to talk about Eat is probably number one. Eat's probably going to be number one. Even if we include Diet Starts Monday, I would like to say that probably, like just doing the math in my head, like I would probably think Eat probably outsells them. But it's them, 1A, 1B sales wise, then it'd probably be me. And then me, entrepreneur. And this is talking about like strictly sales wise. And then after that, it's just like a whole bunch of people. But we're like, I barely probably make enough money to live my life and not have to have another job. But, you know, I think Malik, he definitely is living a pretty decent life.
But there's beauty in that. Like,
it's definitely
I'm in the exact same spot where I'm making just enough to live and to not buy dumb shit. But to like,
I like dumb shit.
Well, sometimes you gotta buy dumb shit, but like you know you can't be buying tons of dumb shit. But like you make enough. And
to be honest, though, one thing that's really been lost over the past 10 years is like the beauty and the struggle. Like a lot of, it's like nobody like sees the beauty in the struggle. They just want to see the end product constantly.
Struggle's good.
Struggle.
You need struggle.
I mean, apparently when you make the money, all you ever think about was the time when you were struggling to make it all happen. Apparently. Can
you say you're there?
No, we still struggling. Like, to be honest with you, I only have one goal, and that is to take care of my folks when they can't take care of themselves. Like, everybody always, like, this is way past everything. Like, I'm getting older. My parents are older. There's going to be a day when they can't work, where they can't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Well, like, whatever my universal God says, hopefully he'll grant me enough money and free will to take care of my folks, you know? And that's what it's really about at the end of the day.
Beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, like, I don't care about all this other shit. Like, everybody tries to make it personal and make it about, like, some cool guy stuff. But at the end of the day, really, it's like, people got to get their bills paid. People got to live.
You're not doing enemies just to be cool?
No, for what? I mean, I'm already cool. That's what makes people sick. Like, everywhere I go, I know I'm cool. People should know when they're cool. Everywhere I go, I don't want to say like a dick. Most people know who I am. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm so great because I don't give a fuck. You know me because I just been around. I'm old as shit too.
It seems like you're very conscious of like your social positioning of like your brand and like yourself in the room and everything. Like, I don't think it's braggadocious anyway, but I think it's always going to be conscious of your position in society and like, let alone in like the DMV area, you know?
Yeah, you definitely have to, because it's not like you're ranking yourself, but like I've met a lot of celebrities from the area. And one thing I had to start realizing for myself was like, when you meet this celebrity, you cannot be a fan. You can be a fan.
Can't be a fan.
You can respect, you could even admire what that person does for their talent. But on a human level, we are human. Like I've met probably one of the most popular rappers in the area. They invited me to the studio.
Wale?
And, not Wale, but yeah, it's probably never going to be Wale. But we sat there and I remember talking to him, and it was kind of different. Like you know, once you change your tone to these people, not to say that they're bad people, but they kind of want you to be a fan a little bit. But you want you to understand you respect them, and then you say, "Oh, I'm gonna be me." And I think I've gotten good reception with that with celebrities.
Like I'm not them like a
you're just a regular person.
Yeah.
Like, and to be honest, if you're just really feeling yourself, I'm not even going to talk to you. It's like, for what? So you can carry me? I'll be like, you're not gonna big time me because I'm like, whatever, it's cool. I got pride. Like it's like, and it maybe that pride is good or bad. I'm not sure.
I think pride is better than being nervous about yourself or being unsure about yourself. Like I think too much confidence is probably better than too much hesitation. Or
I think it goes back and forth.
I don't know, man. I think it's good to be overconfident as opposed to being self-conscious.
Definitely. Oh yeah, yeah. Because to be honest, this whole area is full of people who are self-conscious that you don't know how many basement rappers, basement artists, basement photographers, basement whatever, out here doing work in their basement. Might even be halfway decent work or work they could sell for money.
Yeah.
But they just don't have the confidence to show anyone. And it's sad. It's straight up sad. Because to be honest, that it leads to people harboring resent towards people who are winning. Like, oh, my art is just, and their art might just, but your bitch ass is in the fucking basement. Like, get out the basement, bro.
I think that's a big problem is people get too scared to release something or people get held up because it's not perfect and stuff like that. I wish there
was like a PSA when you start doing your own thing. Was PSA just said, people are going to tell you suck. Get over it.
That's a fact.
I remember at a time, like I was getting trolled by people online on Instagram. Come to find out, these are people that like I might kind of know. Apparently,
when you first started enemies,
yeah, no, not even that. Like when we started really getting a lot of success, like I got the accounts and stuff like that. It's just like, you know, with a little research, you find out these trolls are people you might know and stuff like that. It's kind of sad, but like it's cool. Like nobody goes around and trolls a sorry brand.
That's true. To even have haters is a nice thing.
They told me one day I was walking down H Street and they were like, somebody locked up a kid the other day stealing your hoodie out of Shoe City. To be honest, I worked retail for a long time. And the shoplifters never steal the booty shit. They only steal the good stuff.
Yeah, so that's a hey, cheers to that. Hey, that's a compliment right there.
Exactly. I was like, oh.
You're not going to waste your time stealing some dumb shit.
I was like, oh, man. I was like, everybody got that kid's number. Like, you know, send it to me. I'll give him free stuff. You ain't got to steal. Like, I think because I grew up in like a different kind of atmosphere in DC, like I came up through the recreation department and hung out on 14th Street. Like the guy who owns the museum, Muhammad Hill, he's like, me and him are like, we grew up like we're trying. It's wild to see.
Oh, you're really deep in it. Like where you're seeing all your friends that you grew up with making impact in the city.
We're all like, it's wild. Like it's just like, it's like we grew up. It's like you were in high school and everybody was cool in high school, and now you're an adult and like everybody's still cool. And you're like, oh man, you made it too. A lot of people didn't think I was going to make it though. That was that time where I was a felon and I was a maintenance man, and a lot of people didn't want to talk to me.
Whoa, you were a felon once?
Yeah. Long time ago. Back in like 2007, I got in trouble.
For doing what?
Selling drugs.
Oh, okay.
You know,
At least you didn't hurt anyone.
No, not really. You know, so I got caught selling drugs. You know, did some time, came home.
How much time did they give you?
I got 3 years. Ended up doing like I got federal charge, so I got drug program, which gives you a 1 year off, 6 months halfway house. So I ended up doing like a year and some change, came home. One thing I realized during that year was just like, this life's not for me, like, you know? And to be honest with you, the most miserable time was like after I came home, I got a job back with Up Against the Wall. They went out of business in 2010. Then I went and got another job. It was a little shitty job. But while I was trying to get other jobs to do retail, I got to experience what everyone was talking about, like how you can't get a job when you're a felon.
Oh, shoot.
That shit was terrible.
How bad is it? They just...
I went on 15 job interviews, and I got made to the level where they ran the background because I lied on the background every time and told them that I never committed a felony, because 9 times out of 10, you just write you committed a felony, they just wipe you from the list.
I always thought that too.
So I was just rolling the dice saying, if you're not going to run the background, we ain't going to know.
Really gonna
you
do
know?
It, yeah.
So 5 times we got to the point where they were going to do the background. They come back and they're like, oh, we're sorry. You can't get, you know, we something's wrong. You know, they can't tell you we're not going to hire you because you're a felon because that's illegal. But like, they just wouldn't hire me. And then I had to go like work as a...
Yeah, what kind of job do you get at that point? Like, what do you do?
I got to be a maintenance man. Like a straight, like my friend Jean, she's like my sister. She got me a job as a maintenance man. And I was working in Potomac at one of the, like in Falls and River Road, at one of those bougie strip malls with the worst people in America. No offense to people in Potomac. I'm
people
sorry.
in strip malls. Just people in strip malls.
Yeah. But it was like, it was hard. Like, but to be honest with you, that job paid me more than any other job I ever had. Like regular job. I was making $28 an hour plus overtime.
Damn.
If I had to use overtime, like say like the pipe broke in the middle of the night, they would pay me for 4 hours just to travel back and forth, not including the time that I was there. And I was like at time and a half. So at 28 times time and a half, like I wasn't like rich, but
how are you feeling at that point? Like I can imagine. Like
you
must feel
like,
pretty
terrible,
yeah,
pretty shitty. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was feeling jealous, straight up jealous.
Of what?
I'm seeing all of my friends ascend. Like during that time, like 20.
How old are you at this point?
I'm in my early. I'm 37 now, so I want to say it's like 2009, 10, 11, 12. I want to say, so 11, 12, 13. So it's like, what was it, 19? So it's like 6 years ago. I'm 31. And like everyone is experiencing their boom. I'm watching it as I'm mowing the lawn, looking at it on Instagram at my motherfucking maintenance job.
Dude.
To be honest, it was sad. Like I remember like seeing my friend doing really, really well, and no knock on my friend. Like he ain't do nothing for me to feel this way. But like it was something I grew up with. We have similar talent. Like everything's kind of the same, but he's out there doing his thing, and I'm fucking here pushing this lawnmower. But to be honest, I had to hit that really rock bottom. Like I'm like with the maintenance job, like my that and a 16-hour LSD trip really like evaporated my ego.
Really?
And once like my ego got evaporated, I was able to figure it all out.
I think drugs can be used like that.
Oh, yeah,
I think it's 100% important, dude.
Oh, I hate to talk about it like all the time with people, but like I took acid one time and it lasted for about 18 hours and my life never been the same.
Dude, that's insane. So what about it?
Oh, like, it was a kind of an intense trip. I don't want to say it was all great. It wasn't like sunshine and rainbows, but something happened along the way where I was able to like release a lot of guilt that I had in my life.
That's good.
And from releasing the guilt, I realized like you're your worst enemy. Like every time you came with a good idea, you were the first person to say it won't work because of this. It won't work because of that. And the moment after that, like, okay, not the moment, because there was a week after where I thought I had left this world and this realm. Maybe I was in the Matrix.
Your ass was still tripping.
So, but like a week after, I realized like, I can't, unless it was like, let's jump off the side of this building. I'd be like, well, we're not going to do that. But like business wise or anything logically that I could do, I just felt like I could do it. It wasn't like I just couldn't nothing was impossible anymore.
Like you realized that you were shooting down all your ideas before you even gave them a chance.
And then it was like, oh, what am I? And then I started to realize, like, it's not about the idea. It's not about what you're doing. It's about how you're executing everything. And then I was like, man, we could do anything if we just execute it properly. And then from there, I think I was already doing the Enemies brand, kind of. But from there, it kind of like took off. And then like Paul from Ubik, funny story is he ends up following me, I want to say, for a while before we ever meet. While I was a maintenance man, to be honest. I made like a custom pair of Reebok pumps. Their custom website. And I know who he is already because we've been in the industry. Unfortunately, I've been regulated to maintenance and everybody else is like, whatever. I know who everybody is everywhere. So, but he just follows me out of nowhere. Like I post a shoe. It's a Reebok pump. It's not really that popular online, but he follows me and I'm like, why is the creative director at Ubik following me? And then 3 years later, we're like meeting. We were supposed to meet one time in Miami at the Agenda show. I saw him from like 50 feet away. I think he was cursing at one of his employees. So I was like, I don't think this is a good time.
Yeah, probably not. It's interesting how something as small as a follow on a creative thing you put out there is a sense of validation in a weird way.
The wildest thing is when the first meeting we have, at that time, I want to say he's been the creative director of Ubik maybe like 3 or 4 years. He told me something that's really true. He said, no matter how big or small your brand is, it's like, Doyle, I'm the creative director of Ubik. Ubik is probably easily one of the top 10 sneaker boutiques in the United States. Worldwide known. Like when you come to Philadelphia or DC, you go to Ubik.
Yeah.
That's what you do. He said, if I know about your brand, he says, my job to know about what's going on in the world. If I know about your brand, more than likely, everyone knows about your brand. They just don't want to give you that kind of boost or be like, oh, we know, because that would get you money and you wouldn't need me. And once he told me that, I was just like, oh, that's how it works. And it was just like, oh, I mean, a lot of those people know who I am because of the time I spent as a buyer, like the time I was doing a lot of different kind of stuff just in retail in general. I mean, it helps. Like a lot of these guys, they just want to make clothes and just think like the design process is, to be honest, selling the clothes isn't in designing the clothes. It's in marketing the clothes. It's 100%.
I don't think I've ever seen someone buy a piece of clothing and be like, oh, the design.
Just hemline is just exquisite.
The way they sewed that tee was just, oh, guys, you got to get this.
Unbelievable.
It's all about the marketing. It's all about the hype. It's all about how you present it.
I think, to be honest, though, with you, like, I really wish, like, people in our area would start to value themselves a little bit more. Because it's like a lot of times we see somebody like you, and then because we can touch you, we can see you, we kind of feel like you're not that great. And I think once we get out of that, I think the district or this DMV area, we're going to have our moment soon. I'm sure of it.
Really?
I'm sure. Like,
you think it's
I don't know
swell?
if how much you follow rap music, but Houston had a moment like 10 years ago with Mike Jones and Slim Thug and Paul Wall and Lean and Chopped and Screw Music, and it went nationwide. I kind of feel like DC in the next 1 or 2 years is going to have that kind of movement.
And our culture is just going to spread it across everywhere.
And I think it's going to have to coincide with a lot of things. Like it's going to coincide with, for maybe a brief moment, the world will become aware of DC, and then it will become like, well, they're kind of aware right now, but not really. Like our biggest star is Wale.
True.
It's the truth. Like he's our biggest star. Then probably followed by Shy Glizzy. Once like, I think as a collective, we could present to the nation something great. I think if we just keep on trying to come as like an individual person, it's never going to work.
What do you mean individual person?
Like for some reason, the people in our area, they want to make it. They haven't figured out like you need a team to make it. You need to like make a movement to make it. Instead of just trying to rise up out the ground and be that shooting star. And once that star fizzles out and dies, then
it's whatever. But like, if you make a team and you're building a movement, like that just keeps on going forever and ever and ever. And so I think that's more of the things we want to do. And also, I think like a town like ours is like, we're a town that like has money, because
one of the richest areas in the world.
But the craziest thing is, we don't want to pay anybody for anything.
No one wants to pay for services.
It's actually, to be honest, it's the DC way. I don't want to say cheap people, but we're frugal people.
Very frugal.
But, you know, as a minority that understands like the immigrant, like how it went with the business ownership and entrepreneurship, Jewish people taught us, like the first people that were in the black neighborhoods with the stores were Jewish people. They sold to Asian people. Asian people sell to Indian people. Now you see Ethiopians buying from Indian people. But that mantra is the Jewish mantra. But they taught us early on, like, you get the best price. You don't let nobody take advantage of you. It's a DC thing, but it comes from Jewish people. And it's like, it's a good thing, to be honest. Like, that's why we're really shrewd in business. Like, DC people do not want you. Like, we actually want to take advantage of you. It's wild.
You're hurting my feelings.
No, I mean, I'm DC native. I'm like, you know, DMV native. But that's just how we are. I think there's a few things that we should probably change about our culture to really get it forward. But to be honest, it's something we should be aware of. Like, when I get into a negotiation with somebody, do something we want to do, I am already aware that I'm going to make it attractive to you to the point where you're not going to be able to say no. Mm-hmm. And whether it's monetarily or like visually or whatever it is, but I want to give you some product that you want. And then it's like, usually it's monetary. Like, I'll give you more points on the deal or whatever. Yeah, people will take it. But at the end of the day, everybody wants a deal in this town. And I think to do business in this town, you don't have to give everybody a deal, but you got to make them feel like they're getting a deal. Because what I've noticed about things in this town, like if they really like you, they're willing for you to call your price.
It's a fact.
But if they don't like
if you're in with people in this town, they love you.
Exactly.
And they will pay your rate. They don't care how much it costs because you got that sauce.
Exactly.
You got that thing that they don't have.
Exactly.
But I'm really interested when you say how you kind of feel like something's swelling out of this area. Like you really...
Look at our musicians.
That's a feeling that I feel like a lot of people do kind of share. Like,
look at our musicians. Look at our, like, I don't want to say my brand. Let's talk about like Malik. Like, he's out there. He's in Minnesota. He's in DTL. He's in DTLR in Minnesota, in the Mall of America. Where does it get more American than that? You know, that. You got Shy Glizzy, you got Bo Young Prince.
That's who I was thinking of, Bo Young Prince.
Yeah,
I just heard him speak. He's just in Spider-Man.
Man's name. I don't know. Well, there's a lot of DMV artists. It's the music scene that's really pushing the scene. But
you think it's the music?
I think it's the music.
You think it's the music that pushes everyone else forward?
I always feel that's what always happens.
It's not the clothing or the music. Dope photographer's named Bruce Allen?
Back in the day when a regional artist would come up, he would be wearing the regional clothes. Give you the entire regional package.
These are my people's clothes. Yeah, exactly. I'm wearing it.
So around like 2000, like I used to wear Rockaware. Rockaware is garbage. No disrespect. If Jay-Z, if you watch this, I'm sorry. I love you. But Rockaware was no good. But they marketed the shit out of it. As New York rap, New York or Philadelphia.
The New York brand.
Like it was, we wanted it.
Yeah.
But when you sell me the music, I got to give you things all behind it. And it's the clothing, it's the lifestyle, it's all those things that come with it. But without the music, it's really hard for it to happen. Unless you get like a cosign.
It seems like music really has that platform. It seems to have like a bigger platform than all the other arts compared to everything else.
Only thing that can match music on platform-wise in business is food.
Well, food is the biggest thing right now in DC. I've never seen a bigger food scene.
I never really seen... I never really like got into like... I'm more of a... hole in the wall kind of food.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. You like the mom and pop shops.
I like the mom and pop.
Down
you
don't
speak English. You might be a little grimy.
I mean, but that's where you get some of the best food. The people that don't wash their hands every time.
I'm not really trying to go to a Michelin star restaurant all the time. I mean, maybe twice, 3 times a year is great. Like, no big deal. But like for everyday eats, I would like some more culture. But I wish everybody felt that way about like their clothes or like some people do. But I think right now also
clothing is like,
I feel like people have to be told it with clothing, especially in DC. Like people have to be presented it. And I feel like not everyone really seeks it out. Not everyone's going to go to their pop-up on the weekends. They'd probably rather go to some brunch thing or
they do
go to a monument walk or something.
Tell you what they want. Please. Brunch crowd. Well,
and that's like the 9 to 5ers, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And then the brunch crowd, they're definitely just going to want like well, it matters what kind of, which ethnicity we're talking about with brunch. But
well, it's white people.
White people, I've never been to white brunch.
I'm thinking avocado toast.
I've been to Mrs. K's Toll House. Oh, they got that all the brunches.
I'm thinking bottomless mimosas.
Have you been to Tony and Joe's on Sunday morning? Tony and Joe's on Georgetown Waterfront.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, well, for $40 you can have seafood buffet brunch. Ooh. All you can eat. $40.
Ooh.
For extra $10 you can get unlimited mimosas. So it's worth it. Yeah, to be honest, it's definitely it's like
$50
like just oyster on the half shell, all you can eat. Shrimp, all you can eat. Yeah, this is crazy.
But that doesn't sound like one of those bougie Michelin star places. That sounds like a real hole in the wall.
But to be honest, when you go there, like you think it's going to be really fancy, but it's really like a lot of like minority people just going there to have a great meal at a great price. If they had a DJ in there, I think it'd be really lit, to be honest. But I think it's too many like age groups in there for that to happen. But like food, like recently, like a friend of mine, I worked a fried chicken festival in Baltimore. People are like, what the fuck are you doing working fresh? I said, my friend called me. He said he needs some help. I was like, what do you want me to do?
A fried chicken festival.
It's right there in the power plant in the Inner Harbor.
That is high cholesterol.
So we're sitting there, and like I'm just sitting there. I just had to tell my friend, I hope you don't think I'm about to fry no chicken. He was like, no. Like, you just go do your Doyle thing. I was like, oh, you want me to work? Okay, cool. I was like, am I collecting cash? He's like, no, it's tokens. I want to say we moved like 3,500 chicken wings.
Oh my
one at a time. And I realized the power of food. Like, man, there are thousands of people there. It's the thing is like, I like throwing events. I throw my own events.
Dude, I think events are what makes a city cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we haven't. There's a few people out here that kind of really try to encompass it. We haven't found anybody who's really like gonna bring everybody in and throw a shit show. And like, I don't know why that hasn't happened. Like, we bring the best of everyone.
You mean like this food stall and Enemies is here and Eat is here and this artist is here and then Chris Pyre is here and like
then Diet Starts Monday or whoever we think is like the creme de la creme.
And it's like the festival of DC.
And it would be great. But the thing is just like, I couldn't do it because people would feel like I don't qualify or, you know, that the whole little brother thing will happen. But if some corporate person was to come and like organize it.
But no one wants that to happen though.
But you know, the corporate guy slanging out the checks, everybody likes that the best.
He got that corporate money. He got that corporate money.
Exactly. That's what it is, you know? I mean, but DC is just like, I think we're there. We're just there. It's just, we just got to have that confidence to say, we love our own culture.
But it seems like food and music are the vehicle for
definitely
perhaps anywhere, but mostly DC, that to kind of rise up and sort of get that nod, to get that
one thing that really sad about with the whole food scene is the whole mumbo sauce debate, or like any kind of
what thing. Is the mumbo sauce debate?
Like, how is it spelled? How is this?
Mumbo, all that stuff.
I'll let you know. Everyone who's commenting never wrote a sign at the store. If you have never asked the Asian person how it's spelled, then you'll probably never know how it's really spelled. I will tell you the truth as an Asian person. It is however that Asian lady wanted to write it on the sign.
That's how it's spelled.
That's how it's spelled. There's no like all this and that. And to be honest with you, they're closing down carryouts all over the city.
Really?
It doesn't fit the mantra of the new DC.
Ooh, the new DC, man. That's an interesting subject.
It doesn't fit into... The saddest thing is like, where do you, even if you like, say you go into the mom and pop, well, not even, there's no more mom and pop, really. The carryouts are the mom and pops. Everything else, like you go into a newer age carryout in DC.
It's like fast casual
Tell me
stuff.
How you're going to get your price under $20 with your drink. Not any alcoholic beverage, but like tell me how you're going to get it under $20
with not even if you sit down to go. Like you order a drink, you order a side, you order an entree. How you gonna get under $20? You can't.
It's impossible shit, dude. It's expensive to eat.
They're making the only options to be for affordable food is like McDonald's, which isn't very affordable, like not available citywide. Apparently, for some reason, Potbelly's is extremely popular in DC. I don't know why
Potbelly's is everywhere.
Every corner. I'm like,
it is everywhere.
Where the fuck Subway go? But it's just like they're moving out they're like literally moving out all the carryouts. But like,
do you think it's on purpose, or do you think it's because the people around them aren't there to support them anymore?
On 14th and U Street, there's a Soul Cycle. That Soul Cycle used to be downtown locker room for 20 years. Never made a late payment. Never anything, but one day it
doesn't look as good, I guess.
They said we're not gonna approve your loan anymore or your lease because we don't want you here anymore. And now there's a Soul Cycle.
It seems like the new DC is very much like Soul Cycle and Bar Class and Sweet Green. It's very clean.
The only thing I like to just say is, which I don't have any problem with, because I remember I kind of grew up like on 14th Street back in the day. And there wasn't a lot of places to eat. There's lots of places to eat now. Our friends are still on 14th Street.
Well, there was a podcast I had listened to you within it where the girl brought up gentrification, and the way your answer to it I thought was the best answer. And I told you this before, and it was that you said it's not necessarily a race thing; it's a changing culture.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about like the new DC, it's like I don't even want to say it's a race thing. I just want to say it's a changing culture. And
they're trying to upgrade what they got. And what happens during an upgrade is the poor people get left out. And it's not a race thing, to be honest. It's never really a race thing. I mean, gentrification, if we want to talk about the thing, we could talk about the culture shift. I want to say, like, I'm a person that's been in DC since 1998, dealing strictly with the African American community. Culture shift is different from gentrification. Gentrification just means that a corporate entity or larger entity comes into your place and buys up all the opportunity, and you can't have opportunity, which has happened. But what happened in DC is like, DC is a weird town. If you go to Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York City, anywhere, there are a multitude of poor people living in one area, whether they're Spanish, white, black, Asian. DC is different. It was all black people. Towards the end of the 90s, we started to see the influx of Latinos coming to DC.
Mm-hmm.
So gentrification, to be honest, my friends, like I said, we're still in DC, or a lot of them live out, they can still come back to hang out, but they enjoy the new amenities. They enjoy a lot of stuff, but the people who they're saying are pushing the culture out is not the people who they say are pushing the culture out.
What do you mean?
There are a lot of people who threw parties for more yuppie style people instead of hood style people. And then it just went on, and it just pushed the hood culture out to the point where it's like go-go music. If you'd asked, I don't know how old you are, but if you're above 30, even with your white, black, whatever you are, you're very familiar with Backyard. Even if you don't like go-go music, you're like, oh my God.
Backyard band?
Yeah, you're like, that garbage. But like, I love go-go music, but like, you were aware of it. Nowadays, people are not aware of go-go music. You know why? It's because it's kind of like what happened with clothing. Like everybody, if you used to travel country back in the day, everybody dressed different when you went somewhere.
Yeah.
Now everybody, if you go somewhere, like everybody's kind of dressed the same.
It's flat. Everyone is on the same wave in a way.
It kind of happened with the culture. And I don't want to say like somebody did it purposely, but like to bring in that new culture, it wasn't like some corporate entity that came in and said, we're about to wipe out all these poor people. It was like suburban people who came to the city, same color as the people they're pushing out, making the parties, doing whatever they wanted to do. And I don't want to say it was wrong, but at the same time, like, can't say like later on, like, oh, they pushed out all the poor people when you were part of it. And that's just like just part of the deal. Like everything in the DMV, culture-wise, like if you're thinking about like outside of crabs, what do you know that is like universally cultural that's not from the ghetto? Nothing.
mumbo sauce, like carry out culture, like DC culture. To be honest, like the suburbanites are well aware of it because they saw it from the periphery during the bad times.
Driving in and driving out.
Yeah, exactly. And they're well aware of it. And when you ask people about DC culture, they're going to tell you about that. They're not going to tell you about like some 5-star restaurant or like, I wish the Redskins were better. I wish they changed their name too. I used to not be on that bandwagon, but now that they stink, like we might as well change the name. So, I would say, had we been winning, no one would care about the name. If we were like 20-time Super Bowl champion, they'd be like, it is a sign of pride.
Yeah, right. Change the name. Maybe they'll reinvigorate everyone.
I mean, when you're a champion, how can you? There's no other better way to invigorate people than winning. I tell you all the time. Like I don't try to talk about politics ever, and I don't want to talk about politics. But it's politics is about winning, and that's
it's a winner sport.
You don't have to talk about anything. It's a winner sport. All the other variables. It's about winning. And if you want to sit around and cry about everything, you're not going to win. That's just like business.
Or want sympathy for things.
Exactly. So, I don't know.
But that's a really interesting point that you said. It's like what makes a culture like the ghetto or the hood or whatever you said. It's like that's what makes the iconic things. But do you think that as that culture is shifting in DC, it'll have different...
The problem is influence. I don't know how influence is going to go for the next 30 years. For the past 30 years, influence has come from poverty, or influence or creativity has come from not having. Which that's what most of these things you're seeing coming is like, oh, something new happened. It's because somebody didn't have something and they had to work around it.
Well, I think it's like how you built enemies, right? Exactly. Like you didn't want to be a goddamn maintenance man, dude. So you came up with this brand, this idea, and you just started at it.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm a little lost right now.
Yeah.
Brain. What were we talking about?
Well, whatever. We were talking about the culture and everything shifting, but I mean, like I'm curious, you know, like the starting years of you building enemies. Like what was
the starting years? So we get started. I make the first one. I'll tell you how the first. I hate to like always tell the story about how enemies like. So, A$AP Bari has the brand V-Lone. He wrote Friends Minus. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm just gonna write enemies on the shirt. The original OG logo with the heart is not really the first logo. Like I wrote enemies like just like that, just without the minus on the end. And I was like, it sucked. It really sucked. And I was like, oh man, this is some really whack shit. But at that time, I like was really about like holding myself responsible for things. Mm-hmm. So if I made some shitty stuff, I told myself I had to wear it. And I told myself, if you want to wear better stuff, or if you want to like wear better stuff, you should start making better stuff.
Yeah, you shouldn't be designing clothes and not wearing your own shit.
I was like, yeah. And then that's another thing that people don't never talk about. I only wear my own clothes. Now, Nike does send me free stuff, but other than that free stuff, I only wear my own clothes.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. That's pretty dope. I wish I could wear my own clothes.
We went from there, like, so I was just like, so I was coming to the end of my other brand, Unexpected. And what happened was like, I knew like I had the wherewithal to think like streetwear, branding. Because before that, the 3 or 4 years were dominated by like fear of God designs, like long length, like neutral colors, no branding. But Virgil was on the rise. So
he's putting his brand.
He's putting everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So he's starting to take like nice silhouettes and put the branding on it. So I'm like, we gotta make the move now. So I'm thinking that we're gonna do Unexpected, or we're gonna do Enemies under Unexpected, just make it a shirt that says Enemies. So I'm out at Arundel Mills at the Champion Outlet. And they're having this wild sale. Like all these crew necks of all these colors are like $2. And I'm like, damn. I'll just buy 50 of them, no problem. So I buy like 50 of them, take them home. Take a yellow one out. And I have like all these letters and patches from Joann's Fabric, because I used to go to Joann's Fabric and used to tell myself, if you're a real designer, you can make something out here and sell it to someone.
Okay. Yeah, essentially.
That wasn't happening at first. But we went, and then I put the letters down, hit it. There's a tonal C right there. So I was like, what am I going to put on top of this? So I was like a drawer. So we put the heart right there. We hit it. I bring on the first bit of emotion I feel is like, man, this doesn't suck.
when you made when you made that first
I looked
enemy's
at it because
design.
I was like, man, this doesn't suck. Like, you have no clue. I made a lot of sucky stuff because I was like trying to like gradually get into the branding, but I really didn't have a lot of stuff. So I was like, oh man. And then we made it, and I was like, holy shit. And then I put it on Instagram, and like all these people just started hitting me up for it or asking me about it and like all this stuff. And I was like, shit, this is kind of crazy.
Dang.
So I was like, oh man, cool. And I just started like placing it on people around town that I knew was popular in the nightlife, that was new for me and stylish. Then we went from there. I think I only wanted to say I was like did like the brand for like 3 or 4 months till Paul approached me on Instagram to see if I wanted to meet him.
That's super fast.
So it's just like, I think Paul, to be honest with you, he really liked the fact that I was Korean. We were both Korean, and like, I don't want to make it seem like there's a lot of Koreans in the industry. To be honest, like they're just not the people that you see in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's very rare for somebody like an Asian person to be in front of the camera that's not in Asia, and like be a streetwear designer. And like the only other streetwear designers everybody else knows like Nigo or like Hiroshi Fujiwara. If you want to say my name next, I'm fully cool with that. Yeah. But it's just like, it just wasn't like what people were thinking about. To be honest, like I don't know what he was thinking when he gave me the opportunity. But
do you think maybe it's kind of a far-fetched thought here, but do you think maybe it has to do with the culture of it? Because to me, it seems like Korean people are in that frame of thinking where being artistic, like being a fashion designer, doesn't seem like a viable career path. You know, so instead of you being a fashion designer, your parents or everyone's telling you doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. So maybe that's why it's so rare.
Maybe. I think so. To be honest, my parents, I think in the later to be honest, my best friend, his sister is from Silver Spring, Maryland. She's one of the lead designers for Stussy Women's.
Nice. The
creative director at Undefeated, he's from Silver Spring, Maryland. Like, there's a lot of people in the area that you just, if you don't know, you just will never know that they're like from the DMV.
It feels like we don't have many leaders though in the area.
It's just not cool. If you try to be a leader in the area, I mean, if you follow All Homage, when you try to be a leader, it's kind of hard for somebody who doesn't have thick skin or who can't survive the trash talking. You'll have people say they hate you and you never met them before. Like,
it's weird, right?
It's so strange. Like the other day, I had a guy meet me at the store and he told me all about myself, and he was a little weird. Like,
he told you all about
yourself. I was like, I mean, the things I've shared on Instagram. And it's just like, bro, it's weird.
That he knows all this stuff about you?
Apparently, I'm surprised it doesn't happen to you.
Dude, no, it happens to me all the time. No,
it's weird.
I used to be way more active on my stories, like face in front of the camera. And I used to be
I don't share my location because of that.
I used to be very front facing, and people would make references to stuff that I used to call the gym the Temple of Flex, just in my stories. I would never ever talk about that. People would be like, "Oh, you're going to go to the Temple of Flex today?" Like some random kid I just met. I'm like, yes, I am, dude. Like, what the fuck? They'll bring up my cat or something like that, and I'm like, or like, oh, I saw that photo. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, but in a way, I'm kind of honored and humbled that someone even gives a shit.
It's
like,
I
that's
felt the
cool.
same way
it's
at the
cool.
same time, and I was like, "You're still weird, dude."
yeah. Well, that's a little different, maybe.
The greatest part is though, it's beautiful. Like you're a photographer, and you do this podcast, so you don't really. It's not like owning a brand. Sometimes, well, it kind of is, but when you go out in public and see somebody wearing your clothes, that you have no fucking clue who that person is.
That's gotta feel really good.
That feels great. It's like
you get like a little hard on. You're just like, fuck
best that premature ejaculation.
Oh hell yeah, full blown, just
like,
pants gone.
It's just like, oh, that's so great, and it's just like
that's gotta be.
Or
dope.
when somebody comes up and just like tells you, like straight up, like, man, I fuck with what you're doing, and like you like I respect what you do. Like, man, it means the world to people like us. It really does, because it's not every day somebody tells you that.
It's
not like every time where like during the creative journey, it's just like it's so hard. Like,
dude, it gets sad and depressing sometimes, dude.
And it's lonely. people don't get it. Like when I tell people that you want to be like if you're a creative and you happen to have a partner throughout your creativity,
you're lucky.
I don't know, because that partner could be hard to deal with, but because if I had a partner, they'd be mad at me all the time because I'd just be doing what I want to do. But at the same time, it'd be nice to have support. I mean, I lean on my mom. She don't really know about the industry. But if I talk to her about anything, she's been in business for herself. But at the end of the day,
it's you at the computer making these designs, making these moves, making these connections, making all this stuff happen. And if you sit there idle, it doesn't happen.
Never. Like, that's one thing I wish people in the DMV would do is just pick up the pace. Like, straight up.
I'm 100%
you're
dropping.
You're like, since you asked me to be on here, you've done 2 interviews. And that was like 2 weeks ago. Most people are like at this like once a quarter pace. And it's just not really good enough. And people don't realize that. Like all the people, I always ask people, like, who do you admire on Instagram? Or who do you follow that you like in their, like, people don't realize they brainwashed. Like hypebeast, certain people, if hypebeast posts a picture of this, just here, right here, they will like it. They will never look at it and say, what is this? They'll be, oh, hypebeast. And that's what it is. And I don't have no resentment towards that. I wish I could get my.
They're like the culture leaders.
But, yeah. I actually be talking to Kevin Ma on the low through the DM.
But come on, you know,
I do.
You know, you want to be on Hypebeast.
Kevin,
bro.
I was supposed to get in Hypebeast one time, but it didn't happen. Kevin, if you're out there, I be talking to you on DM all the time. Get me in Hypebeast.
Just get that one.
But I do be talking to him all the time on. I mean, why not talk to these people? Especially when I talk back to you.
I think that's the biggest thing is even just starting that connection.
Talks back to me. Like if I say
that's insane.
Like, one thing I don't want to talk to a famous person about what they're famous for. Mm-mm. So Kevin Ma eats a lot of food in like exotic ass places, and that's the type of shit I like to do. So if he's eating like fugu in Japan, I'm like, oh, you send him the puffer fish emoji, and you're like, oh, you're doing the ball, and he's like, oh yeah, great. Like he'll talk to you, and I always want to tell people like. I watch all these kids like comment under the people they admire, and it's not like you're trying to engage them. It's like
it's always like, "Yo, so sick, flames,
fellatio."
It is a little bit. Like, it's a little fellation,
a lot. That's like straight up.
It should
engulfing another man.
You're grabbing those testicles and just like, cradling them.
It's like like if I've never been that way, like I don't care. Like, but I would like to, like, people are like, why are you talking to him? Because I want him to respect me as a person. So I want to talk about some shit that he probably wouldn't normally talk about. But like, if you straight fillet some other man, I'm not going to like you. I'll just be like,
but then you're also like a fan at that point too. You're no longer an equal. It's like
also the fan is fine. Yeah. The fan thing is fine as long as you know that. The wildest thing is people be fans. They be mad that you treat them like a fan. You have that happen where there's like, oh my God, like you just I bought all these clothes, and you're like, right, I process all the orders. You bought one shirt. That's another thing that's wild. Like people tell you they support your brand, and you're like, bruh, you bought 2 shirts in the past 8 months. That's $70. I had to at least pay $30 for each one of your shirts. like.
Bro, that's so true. Especially when friends be asking for discounts. I'm like, dude, you should be asking me if you could pay more, dude. Like if you're trying to support a homie.
My friends, my true friends, because my parents grew up in my parents were entrepreneurs, and the way they always did it was, if they had personal feelings towards someone, like friendship or love towards someone, they would extend every not free, but they'd give them a discount.
Yeah,
without asking. But if you want more than that, then you ain't getting it. But I think for us, like, for me as the person who holds the product, I don't mind giving you a discount. You're my real friend. I do mind that you try and get something for free, though, or, like, you trying to, like
swindle a little bit.
But, like, it's like, if we've been friends for 20 years and I'm charging $45 for my T-shirt, I can give it to you for $35.
It's not that big of a deal.
You know, like, but if you're mad that I only gave you 10% off or $10 off, like, bro, you cutting deep into the to the fucking price break. Like $10 is not like some small shit. Like I could use that $10. Like, so people don't understand like the margins and stuff. Like if I sold everybody $10 off, like it would cut deep into your margin. You
It's a
wouldn't
big
have
deal.
a real business.
It's a really big deal.
You know, like with photography, it might be a little bit different because maybe once you own your camera and your equipment, like it's like I shoot, I charge, I keep all the money, you know, which is cool too. To be honest, I wish a lot of more like people who created content have more of a tiered kind of system.
What do you mean?
But I think not really like if there's somebody out there, I know a lot of photographers who will work with somebody who's not as popping because they're doing something good, charge a less price. And I know some photographers who will do work with terrible people because they can afford it.
Bro, I live on both sides of that coin, dude. I will do work with someone who I really want to work with for free, just because I want to be in that conversation that I've worked with them. Like literally in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be shooting this designer's like whole lookbook, pretty much pro bono, but just because I really want to be in that conversation. But on the same token, there could be someone whose stuff I just don't like. I won't even post about it, but I'm gonna charge them an arm and a leg. You know, it's just like, oh, you're getting hit with the 4.8, and then for you, it's like, all right, let's just see what happens.
I think the business side is business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just be so tired of everybody who's talking about this mystical cool, but really you're just business. Like you ever seen Harold and Kumar and they went to like that place to go buy the weed from like the hippie, but they was like, I'm a hippie Jew. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. It's like being a communist capitalist like the Chinese government. I was like, oh, I get it. But it makes so much sense. Like you have to find that balance somewhere. And then for some people, like,
well, you're gonna hurt yourself really hard if even as a creative or anything. Like I'm sure you would be willing to do a hype beast pop-up for absolutely free.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna hurt yourself by being strictly business all the time.
that's true. And then you'll hurt yourself trying to be like cool all the time too. I see a lot of people like not trying to do work with people because, oh, like we're not talking about collaboration. We're talking about I offer services and you need services.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know if I want to work with you. And that's like, it's corny. You're like, you do services, dog. Like if I swept floors and you need your floor sweeping, I'm over there. Like that's what I do. That's what I do for a living. I you know, but I guess that's where I guess me and a lot of people are different. Like I don't want to say I'm proud to not be like rich, but like at least it's me for now. Like I don't want to ever sell a disingenuous image to anyone online, like or period in general. Like I think some people think that they say the humble stuff I say is kind of fake. They're like, that's not you. And I'll be like, no, that's me. You just haven't seen this side yet.
I mean, there's a balance to everything.
Definitely.
It's like there's nothing wrong with ever being like, my shit's dope.
No. You should. Everyone should say your shit's dope. You just can't have a problem with somebody else thinking that it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't think your shit's dope, you shouldn't be doing it. But you should also know, like, if you look at something and you like, if I design shoes, right? And let's say we did sneakers, right? What's the most popular sneaker right now? Right now is Jordan 1, right?
Okay. I don't know. You know.
I make a sneaker. I like the Jordan 1 a lot, but it looks like garbage compared to the Jordan 1. I'm not going to lie to myself that it looks good. Like, you got to look at the things you like and say, when you're a rapper, you have to compare your work against your favorite rapper. You might not can make what he makes just yet because you don't have the resources, but
Who do you compare yourself to?
I would like to be. I really like look up to like Bobby Hundreds. Not because I don't. To be honest, I don't really like his designs, but I do like what his brand means to California. Like, I wasn't really aware that like Hundreds, Diamond Supply, because we're from here. I'm not from California.
We just saw them in all the skate
But
SB shops.
yeah,
and stuff,
so you see that, and you see them in Zoomies or whatever. And at one point, those brands were really, really cool before we like really when the skateboard like thing was really at its peak. But like what we didn't realize on the East Coast is those brands are like Madness and We Are One and like those old local brands that came from way back in the day, but they just lasted the duration. So when you're 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 in California. All you wear is hundreds and diamond.
Yeah.
And I'm always wondering, like, how the fuck these guys got stores? Like, but when the hundreds has the warehouse sale, there's 500 people lined up outside to go buy hundreds on sale. So it's like, what I really want to do is just have like a brand that represents the area culturally and is something that we could put up against anyone else. Like, you stylistically, you could put my brand against anyone. I'm sure.
The hundreds has had an insane impact.
Yes,
I mean, you want to talk from West Coast to East Coast, like to be.
I was like, everything they've done is like, but their hold at home is unreal.
Really?
I really wish, like, to be honest, I feel like Eat has that kind of movement right now. To be honest, I don't know if you know about the brand Madness. But like Madness, so during the 90s, there's I want to say like 4 or 5, but there's a whole, this is going to make you wow you, okay? So there's a brands, We Are One, Madness, Shooters, who else out there? All Days, and then maybe 3 or 4 other brands. During that time, during the late 90s and early 2000s, the local DC brands were bringing in $8 million. You can ask me.
Those ones you just listed?
No, it might have been 6, and the other 2 might have been spread out.
They were pushing that much product?
That's how much product they were moving back in the day.
Globally or just locally?
No, locally.
Oh, shit.
So the only person that leaves the DMV is Madness. Madness has a store in LA. Eddie, all these guys, like, these guys are, you know, they're street guys, but like, these guys are moving $8 million in clothes. So what happens is, like, a lot of things that happen in DC is associated with crack era. So crack era happens. Everybody's wearing Gucci, blah, 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 blah. Gucci, whatever's expensive. Then Eddie Van, founder of Madness, comes up with the idea, I'm gonna make my own clothes. And for a decade, he dominated the scene. I want to say Madness, even to this day. I met Eddie Van in person 2 years ago because me, him, Malik, we did a pop-up shop together. I never met him ever, but I know who he is. And I remember when I was in high school, like, everyone had a Madden. All the, like, the hood dudes had like Madden shirt. You could go get it, your nickname and your number on the back, like all that heat press customization stuff. They were doing it first. That's like DC is like the first place with the vinyl customization. That's where it really becomes popular. So I see Eddie, and I had this shirt at the time. It's like the Wizards, all my favorite Wizards player on it. And I was just like, I'm gonna give Eddie Van the shirt because I just walk up to, because he's like,
it's
Madness
to you. He's like that dude.
Madness is the Stussy or the Levi's of DC streetwear, like straight up and down. So I walked up to him. I gave him the shirt. I said, I appreciate everything you do. I've been following you since I was a kid. You're like Ralph Lauren to me. And to be honest, I think you might have shed a tear a little bit. You might not have. Sorry, Ed, I didn't want to say that. But like, but it was cool. Like, I felt great to give him that moment where he got to feel somebody's, like, it's weird. Like, we're sitting here talking, you have like no clue that this even exists.
I have no idea who this influential guy in the scene was.
And then, to be honest, like Ed was probably the person that really influenced all of us to go into business, to do the clothing business, like to say like, oh, you're from DC, you can make it. Like, we used to have like our own look, like the pants with like the drawstring cord, like the bungee cord at the bottom. That's like a DC staple like look.
Yeah,
like all those things, like
the New Balances,
the brand going down the side of the pants.
Oh
with
yeah,
the tape.
yeah.
That was a big thing too. Or the rainbow lettering.
That's a very
DC thing. Like people have, like, when other areas do it.
I've always seen Sol Beato be on that.
Sol Beato, to be honest, they were so smart. Like, they were very smart. What they did was back in the day, Sol Beato, there was another store on 7th Street called Lifestyles. They sold the same kind of stuff like Sol Beato, Iceberg, Versace, Hugo Boss, all that stuff. But Sol Beato, they were smart enough to make their own clothes.
Yeah, of course.
They were like, and they didn't make it like Iceberg or Versace. They made it more like Madness and like all that other stuff. Like, it's wild. Like, Sol Beato those guys were able to understand their consumer and like
make a high-end Italian version of DC streetwear for them.
So that's where they were in
That's
that
what
spectrum.
that is,
Where
yeah.
Madness was more on like the street level.
Yep, definitely. So like Salviato is where you could go and buy anything, like there's Dolce & Gabbana sneakers, clothes, Versace. Like half my Iceberg collection when I was a kid came from Salviato.
What do you mean Iceberg collection?
Iceberg is another brand. Like back in the day, there were so in the late 90s, the most popular brands are Versace, Iceberg. What else was out there? Moschino and Gucci. I don't want to say was like there.
Are you talking globally or
no,
just in this
globally?
area? Yeah,
globally. So this is Jay-Z. This is like during the time
Echo was pretty big then too.
Echo was definitely big. But this is a high end. Like,
you're talking high end.
We're talking
Okay,
about Italian
yeah.
fashion house. Echo was definitely big. Like,
but that's not. They were never high end. But
never high end. But like it was different. And then Salviato was selling all the high end clothes back in the day. So anything so naturally, if I make like a DC looking sweatsuit and I sell it next to this Versace, you're gonna think like, oh, that's Versace.
You're gonna think it's on the same thing as them,
to this
same
day,
level.
like to be honest, the one thing that I wish Salviato had done more, or to be honest, every retailer in the DMV would be that they would have done more stuff with the community.
Really?
Like the long-standing legacy of the previous generation of retail in our community, that we used everybody up for money and we didn't put anything back into the system. And we gave a couple people opportunities, but those people left home. And to be honest with you, like you might hear up against the wall a lot.
I hear a lot. That
When they
kind of
closed
legendary.
in 2010, right? That really like signifies like a big deadening in the retail industry as far as like creativity and people wearing different stuff. Like, so back in the day, up against the wall, like if you watch a rap video, that would be where you would go to get the clothes that you saw
That
in
was
the
the
rap
spot.
video. And it was like, you know, and then everybody always wanted to make it seem like a hood store. Not really. Up Against the Wall started in 1960s. They started out as a hippie store. The 70s became disco store. 80s punk rock. 90s is where they got that whole urban vibe.
And they were just
then
doing
they
whatever
took
was.
off. In the late 2000s, they took off into premium denim. But people don't ever tell the story that way because the consumer tells the story however they want.
But that's kind of my perspective of Up Against the Wall. It was kind of like the hood store.
Definitely. But no one ever talks about in this area is the hood dollar is what really pushes everything fashion-wise in DC. Our people are more privileged, wealthy people in DC are pegged into wearing the same outfit for the past 30 years. They got the nice boat shoes, they got the khaki shorts, and they wear the nice button-up rolled up.
3/4
With the
roll.
nice rolling.
they're like, oh, I got out of work. Let me undo the top button and roll up the sleeves,
that's-
baby.
And that's the only thing. So that's what it is.
But back to your saying about Up Against the Wall, because this has come up in conversation, I feel like a lot, but it just ends up brushing over. Is the collapse of Up Against the Wall left like a hole in the DC fashion scene in a way?
I mean, Downtown Locker Room tried to take over during that time.
Were they pulling in like a lot of the local brands? Is that what was going on?
No, there was.
Or they were just like the
I'm gonna tell
distribution
you
point
something.
for style?
It was. That's what it was. It was the distribution point for style. Or, to be honest, Up Against the Wall had, not only here, I believe that we had 18 locations in the DMV.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had locations in Miami, Los Angeles as well. Mitch Kupchak, the former general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers, was an investor of the West Coast expansion during that time. So we were pulling in stuff from everywhere, and we weren't like the local person, but to be honest, like they brought in a lot of local brands too, like We Are One during the time, and like they tried their best, but that's basically where you buy your hypebeast clothes before hypebeast. Like people were like, where do you buy 10 Deep? Where do you buy Crooks and Castles?
I remember all
Where
those
do you
brands.
buy that?
Commonwealth.
Before Commonwealth, you buy it Up Against the Wall.
Ooh.
And that actually leads to the whole retail beef. Then who's cooler than who? But at the end of the day, everybody knows, like, Up Against the Wall, we gave this stuff to the people. And it made a lot of other people mad. But at the end of the day, like, the
people who are mad at each other are never the people who are really making the deals. It's always some sales associate or somebody who's not really involved in deals. When you start to realize like all these people kind of like each other but those people who were out there before did not liking it, they perpetuated all this stuff to this point now where we're like, oh, we can't deal with each other. Back in the day, like everybody dealt with each other. Like they were just like, oh, we're here to make money. Like we're not concerned about who's cool, who's not cool. Like we'll let the employees think about that.
So brands like Madness and We Are One, all these like, I guess, very legendary DC brands in the 90s, they just went out of business and didn't leave behind anything or they did nothing for the community.
Well,
to kind of
still has a store on Silver Hill Road in PG County.
Oh, wow.
Madness, they had a location on Georgia Avenue for over 20 years, and then they closed, and then they reopened out in PG County as well. Like, they still have a following, like, straight up. Like, the following is just not your mainstream who you think is streetwear. Like, Eddie Van, the guy who does Madness, like, I'm actually surprised. Like, I'm so impressed with him. He'll do a pop-up, and his crowd's a little bit older than our crowd, you know? So they get there early, and they tell Eddie they're going somewhere tonight, and they need something to wear, and Eddie hooks them up with the outfit and everything. But, bro, I can't tell you 30 years from now that someone could pull up at a pop-up and be like, Doyle, hook me up with my gear.
Yeah, but are they? But
it's so impressive to me.
Are brands like Madness just operating off nostalgia, or are they
I think
really,
so.
or are they
to some point?
Are they just pushing it forward? Like, are they?
No, I don't think they're pushing it. I think, to be honest, the scope of what they were doing was never that big. I think also, like, they didn't have somebody who was from the next generation, so they didn't really understand it. So, but to be honest, on a nostalgic level, like it's impressive. It's like Allen Iverson shows up somewhere, you're like, fuck, that's AI. Yeah. You'd be like, oh shit. You'll be 20, 25. You'd be like, you ain't see AI back in the day. So it's cool. But at the end of the day, like all those brands and everybody, like I really wanted to be like a historian. I want to be a historian.
You know a lot about the DC fashion scene, dude.
Everybody like in our area, I really wanted like, I don't want to tell people what's good and what's not good. It's not my place. But what I want everybody to know is like, we should all be supporting each other. Even though like, I can honestly say I have not always said that. I was kind of been in the past. I've been like very standoffish and like, you don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But 3 years into this business, that's counterproductive. If I don't fuck with you, I should just not say nothing. And it's not because I'm scared of you or I have any kind of, it's just because it doesn't help all of us. And I've realized for us to reach that moment where I'm talking about where the nation notices us, it's a point where a lot of us are going to have to just let down our guard and try to create good shit and just like let it go and just be like, hey, we're trying to win. And we could just pick up the pieces afterwards. Like if we don't like each other afterwards, like we can pick up there.
Yeah, like we gotta. It's like we gotta team up to fight this greater like, beast, but we're not gonna like
growing
it.
Growing up Asian in the 80s and the 90s, it was like this, right? You Vietnamese, you're Cambodian or whatever. I'm Korean, but we're in a classroom full of Americans, right? And it's not versus, but like say shit goes bad, we gonna stick together, no matter what.
Makes sense. We
have to because it's natural, but. I don't want it to make it seem like a race thing. It should be like a thing like, you see me coming, I see what you doing. We don't have to like be best friends or like, I gotta buy you something or I could just honestly say, bro, I fuck with what you're doing. I see you over there. Keep going. And you could reciprocate that same love. And I think that's what we really need. Like, just because you said somebody doing something good doesn't mean that you just filleted them. It just means that you are pouring positivity into the community.
No, that's true. Shouting someone out and be like, yo, that's dope, as opposed to being in the comments like, this is so sweet, fire emoji. Yeah. Like it's two different things.
And to be honest with you, like if you really want to talk, like I tell all the younger people, if you really want to contact somebody, don't go into comments and put fire, 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 you're so flame. Like, bruh.
Send them a DM.
Clearly. Like, send them a DM and say, something like substantial or like at least sound like a normal person who's not trying to suck your penis. Like a lot of these people don't get it. Like, and what people don't get is a lot of creators love that energy.
I do. I love that energy.
I don't like that. Like if you try to be like, oh, I love you, you're the best.
Oh,
thing ever.
that energy? No,
that energy,
no.
like
I love when someone's like, yo, man, I love your podcast.
Oh, I like that. But when
that shit makes my day.
You're like extreme fanboy.
It does feel like a little bit like
really
fallacious.
calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like it is like, I'm not down with that. And it's just like, it's like you're caught up in the moment and I don't want to disappoint you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's like weird to say that, but it's like, that's how I feel. Like you caught up in the moment. I don't want to disappoint you, but like, bruh, but at the same time,
that probably happens to you in person a lot though.
I'm weird in person.
Because for me, like I'm so front facing with people that people already feel like they know me. And so they don't do that as much with you. You're like a little more anonymous. So when someone sees you, they're like, yo, you're my enemies. Oh shit, man. Like,
it's weird. And it's like, I've purposely not been so accessible on the internet.
You know, that's an interesting strategy. Like I legit had a friend with a good amount of clout tell a friend with a rising amount of clout that he shouldn't be so visible at events, like that he shouldn't go to so many events, that he should create this sort of like attention where,
I don't know if you should create that attention. I create that attention. I don't do it really purposefully as the people say. What I do is I don't really like going out. It gives me anxiety.
That's just
especially for no reason. Like it's just like we could go to dinner at Peking Gourmet and we could eat delicious Peking duck. We don't have to go to this place with loud music and you know,
just a chill.
If I know I have something going on, I'll go out. I'll be outside and I'll have to be seen. And to be honest, since the way I've managed the way my appearance or where I'm seen, it usually is always well received because I'm not out a lot.
So you do think it is a guide to not always be out?
To be honest with you, I think it matters how popular you are in real life. If you're not popular in real, it's cool. Like if you're just internet popular, they see you out once, it'll be a big deal. They see you out 4 times, it's not gonna be a big deal.
It kind of wears off,
especially if you're not good looking or you're not like. Because a lot of dudes wear masks and all. I don't know if you've been on the streetwear scene. There's a lot of weirdos.
It's very anonymous. It's very like
it's like a lot of people don't want to sell themselves as the product because they feel like they'll get hated on.
Yeah.
Like there's this guy I met one time. He wears a mask, a straight up mask, and has a separate identity
online
for his thing online. And I was like, I never criticized it, but I was like, bruh. At some point, people gonna realize you ugly, and that's why you got the mask on.
But you know what's interesting is that I've literally been told this is that people have, well, I guess, watched the podcast, and I'm talking about the Simple to Society one with Vo, and they were like, "Yo, like I knew about the brand, I thought it was cool, I thought what they're doing was really interesting." He was like, "But until I listened to him talking, until I saw him, he's like, I felt real connected with it," and he's like, "And that made me like it even more."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's pretty powerful stuff."
Yeah,
like,
definitely,
that's dope. Like, someone's gonna watch this and be like, "Wow, Doyle's an asshole." No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's actually the usual thing. Like,
nah, man. I think people be like, "Yo, like he gets it." Like,
I just really like I'm not down with sugarcoating shit and telling people shit that's not true. And it's like half the shit you see on the internet and streetwear wise is fake. It's straight up fake. The sellouts, all those things that you're seeing, products being sold out, it's fake. Like it's straight up fake. Like I can make my online store sell out anytime I want to. But it's not we got to start realizing
it's all perception.
But it's not even about it is perception. And what the focus should be on is like, do you as an individual like the product? That's what it's always been for me. I love Nike basketball shoes from the 90s. I love Nike Air Maxes from the 90s. I love a lot of shit that's nostalgic. You know why? Because I know that's me and that's what makes me.
I noticed a lot of your designs are very nostalgic.
So, and, that's the era I grew up in. So that's what I just do. So I don't know what these next kids are going to, like, at least I know Michael Jordan was really great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you really going to be able to tell me, like, somebody from your era? Like, the thing is now, like, I used to like all these obscure players when I was a young person, and my brother would be like, dog, they all suck. I'd be like, he got 12 rebounds last year per game. He's like, nah. And then I started realizing, like, okay, stars are stars, role players are role players. And, I get it. Like, if you really want to be a star, you got to be a star. Like, can't be worried about like some role player or like how other people perceive you or would want to perceive you. And at the end of the day, like, you're gonna win. You're gonna win because of who you are. It's not because of anything other than that. Like, I don't think winners win because of any other fact because they want to. Like, we talked about politics or anything else. Like, I'm gonna run it up as much as I can doing what I can do. I probably can't throw you a $10,000 installation at some fancy hotel. I probably can't do this. But you know what? I can make great graphic designs and print on the best blanks possible and give you a product that you'll be proud of in 10 years. Even after I'm gone and I might be doing my semi-successful comedy career.
Bro, I'll be there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you let me know.
100%. I think I would have been better at comedy, but I have a bone to pick with this streetwear thing. I really need it to work. Like,
so where do you say, I mean, you want it to work and like, where do you see it going? Like, where do you want it to go? Like, what's the?
So I'm going to tell you the truth. I plan on doing this for probably like another 3 or 4 years. I hope in that time I'll be approached by a larger company and want to get bought out.
Damn. That's honest.
Yeah, I want to get bought out. Maybe if the company buys me out, like offers me opportunity to stay in control of creativity, I'll stay on for a year or two. But as long as the purse is big enough that I can take care of me and my family, all the cool shit can go out the window, and my parents' mortal life is secured, we're good. We can make a deal.
You don't feel like you'd be selling out a little bit, like if you did something like that?
It'd be different if it was for the sake of money. It's not for money. The money's gonna get made anyway. I gotta take care of my folks.
Well, then it's about money in that regard.
Kind of, like, but money not for the sake of money and me looking fly and buying Balenciaga, but me taking my money and saying, Mom, you ain't gotta work no more.
Facts.
Dad, you ain't gotta wake up at. My dad's 73 years old. He wakes up at 2:00 in the morning, Monday through Friday.
What the frick?
Okay, all right. He is a middleman between carryouts and like buying vegetables. So if you don't want to order from Cisco, with Cisco you got to buy 10 to start. You can't order 10. You call my dad. My dad goes and gets it for you. 8, 6, whatever. At one time they retired and they invested into real estate during the property boom. Unfortunately, they lost all their money during that too. And my dad was about to die, to be honest, because he was in terrible shape because he had stopped working. And then he had to go back to work. And he tried to work for someone else, but he just couldn't.
It's hard, man.
And then he just got a loan from his friend. He bought a cargo van, and boom, he started his own thing.
That's a bona fide hustler, dude.
No, straight up hustler. Like, he started his own business. He came here with $20. My mom, she's like, right now she's not working. Every time I talk to her, it's wild. She's always like, bro, if I was in my 70s or my late 60s, you're talking about like, oh, what are you going to do? I don't know. I think I'm going to die soon. But she's like, she got recently laid off from her job because the person who was doing the business decided they didn't want to do it no more. And she saved a little money. She's like, I'm going to start another business.
Nice.
She's like in her mid 60s. So it's like, I've been blessed. I didn't realize that when I was raising myself and they was trying to make everything else happen, but I've been so blessed that, like, if my last thing on earth is just to reciprocate the love they gave me, it's fine. Like, I don't care about anything else. Like, everybody's always like, oh, okay, I look like I'm like care about material things. I don't really care about it anymore. Like, as a young man I did. But now it's just like, if I can take care of my folks, I'll sell out to any deal. Straight up. Like,
it's like, who cares what you think about me?
Who cares about what you think about my brand and whatever? Like, at the end of the day, if you saw that I sold this deal out to take care of my folks and you felt some type of way, you're a bad person. That's what it is. Like, let's be honest. Like, the cool shit don't count when mom and dad got to worry about where the fuck they going to live tomorrow.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, that's real shit. That's
real shit.
No one cares. Like, you can't care what someone thinks at that point.
We're so, like, the wildest shit is like this generation before us were so much more wildly successful than we were monetarily.
They were.
Like, if
Are you in your 30s yet, or
I'm 28.
28? You're getting close, but like an adult at 28, 20 years ago,
Had a family, kids,
all
pension,
kinds of,
401k.
We're all fucking single now.
Yeah,
we're all like
I didn't
out
even
here
ask
by
you.
ourselves.
You don't got no kids or nothing.
No, like I don't even. I stray away from relationships because I feel as though most people aren't equipped to be in a relationship with someone unless with like in my situation. Because I could provide in a personal situation, I could be very charming and different. But like when shit starts to get hard, you got to understand like shit is hard. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, especially if you're not in the life. Like if you're in the life, I think it's cool.
Try talking to the mic with it.
Oh, sorry about that. But like it's just it's what it is. Like
what do you mean if you're into life?
Like if you're in the business life, like I grew up, my parents had a business. One thing, if I ever wanted to get out of something or talking to my mom, say I got work to do. And that is the end of the conversation. She was like, I'll talk to you later. And I've never, it's weird. Like I talk to a lot of people and they don't feel that way. If you ever tell me like, bro, I got shit to do. I got to make money. Like for some reason in my mind, it's just like a priority. And I'm like, dog, you got to go do what you got to do. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's lacking nowadays. It's just like, we don't respect a lot of things that we should probably respect. Like people making money, like, a lot of people are always talking about like, oh man, this and that and this. And I felt this kind of way. But like
the vibe was.
Yeah, fuck the vibe. Like you went over to your friend's place and you acted a fool at their job. Or you called them at their job and had them talk wild on the phone. Like these are things that a previous generation, like if I call you at work, even if you're my girlfriend, I have something to like really be mad about you about, but I gotta talk to you later.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting. You're 100% right. How it seems like the generation before us, when they were 28, 30, whatever, their shit was solid.
Hey, bro, they had us, and they were like,
but what happened with us? Where did
we
they
haven't
go
got
wrong?
no kids, and the ones who have kids,
it's like we're waiting longer to have kids. But how come we're not as financially stable as everyone?
oh, there's not enough money.
Is there more money for everyone?
There's no money. That's what it is. It's just straight up no money. And now, instead of, like you got a business, I come to you, I go to the internet. And the internet, I mean, if you're truly trying to find something special, you're not on the internet. Or you might be a little bit to find it, but not to click unless you're in Japan or something.
Yeah.
But like, that's what the normal people are going to. So I don't see how we can, I'm hoping that things change because it really seems like people are like biting off their nose or like cutting off their nose to spite their face. As far as like this whole like where they're spending their money, who they want. Everybody's talking about they want service, but you don't want to spend any money. Like what kind of, it just doesn't make any sense.
I think a lot of people get caught up trying to flex and look cool for public perception and instead of be practical. Like there's nothing wrong with being creative and having a part-time job.
I want to let you know something. Like, I don't think any time before my parents owned their first business that we were ever poor or we were ever rich. But I can never tell you like my lights were cut off, my water was cut off, the electricity, nothing like that. I never was hungry. I ain't never seen my parents flex ever. But we had everything okay. Like it's like we're so caught up in like showing everybody what we did instead of like making sure everything's good. And like I guess the older I get, that's how I feel. Like everybody's like, Doyle, you should be doing more on this level and that level. But it's like, bruh, I could show off all I like. If it doesn't make financial sense, then like I'm just wasting money. And it's just like it's a sad state of events when you waste money and you look cool. It really is a sad state of events because everyone thinks you're rich and you're like, dog, I just Ubered here.
I just Ubered.
So it's what it is.
Dang, man. I hope we get bought out.
I hope so too. I hope all the bro guys bought out. Like it's to be honest, that's how the clothing business works. I mean, ASAP Bari doesn't own V-Lone.
He's the face of it.
Off-White isn't owned by Virgil. Like V-Lone is owned by the same company that owns Undercover and all those other like Japanese brands.
Who owns Off-White?
Off-White is owned by an Italian company.
Oh.
So like, if you look at it, like everybody's always like, oh, these people are so cool. No, their parent company is a huge company that's associated with Fragment, Bape, and all these other like undercover, like all these great brands. So why do you think all these like pop-ups and all these exquisite things are happening? It's because these people are financially involved with each other. It's not because of this like super cool, like mystical shit like Highlander. There can only be one bullshit.
Yeah, I think people are just led in a direction to think that it's not that way.
It's not. And most of the people that you're saying that are doing the designing, they're not even doing the designing. It's some dude that looks like, not like even like us, or like some lady that is just a designer who's making the clothes. And it's like, the wildest thing is like the celebrity designer doesn't even come up with the concept. Like in the previous years with like Marc Jacobs, you know, you got your Karl Lagerfeld, those kind of people, they directed the leadership of what they were doing. Nowadays, it's like, okay, the designer, like they'll come up with the thing and they'll show it to the designer. Virgil will be like, oh, that's cool, we'll do that. It's different.
Oh, so you're saying Virgil's actually just signing off on things?
I think it's everybody, to be honest. At that point,
I think you always get to a level where it's like that,
it's definitely
right?
like that. But like at the same time, like it's sad when a lot of people think it's like some bluegrass shit where like some guy sitting in the same.
Yeah, where they think it's Virgil like working hard every day, just like drawing and being a mastermind, like
no.
Beethoven's writing his
I'm
fifth.
like, he just DJ'd 3 nights in a row. Like, what do you think? Like it's like no knock on anybody. It's no knock, but like we gotta really get away from like the whole smoke and mirrors thing and realize like these dudes are making billions of dollars because there's multitudes of people doing the work. Like
they're just the faces
exactly.
of it.
But it seems like the DC culture, we just like been so much like a government town. It's like so hard for us to realize the real like situations that people are in. And it's just like, it's cool. But I think we're growing to that moment. Like, I don't ever want to sound like I'm a cup half full motherfucker. No, is that right? I'm cup half full. I'm half full. I'm not half empty.
Yeah, half full is
but
positive.
Like, I think we're gonna move. I think we're gonna move the charts and get to where we need to go because it's just too much talent.
I think there is a lot of talent, and I think in a lot of ways they just need to make noise and do things and try and experiment and to throw events as cheap as they possibly can, to collab with each other, to cross pollinate, and to maybe stop doing things that fragment cultures.
Exactly. And I think it's just like we should all be feeling like we should all win. Not like I should win more than you, or we should be in more of a feeling of like we should all take our turn. Like it's your turn. Like I don't know if you're familiar with like the minority, like how the money pool. So in minorities, when they first came to America during the 70s and 80s.
Do you want more?
Oh yeah, hook me up. So basically, right. So what would happen was like they'd pool money together, and when it was your turn, you got to take the money and start your own business. That was, they don't do that anymore. But like when it's your turn, it's your turn. But these are things that since we grew up in like a different time where we didn't have to do that, we don't understand it. When it's your turn, it's your turn.
Dude, times are weird, man. Especially being in a time where it's like college is on the brink of collapse, where no one believes in it anymore.
Well,
like
I went to 3 semesters of school. The whole time was selling drugs. And the only thing I could remember the whole time was, why the fuck am I here paying you money? And you told me if I came late 3 times, you're going to tell me I can't get my credit.
Which is weird because
I just paid you. Like, what are you talking about? And if I didn't want to learn, I wouldn't just show up.
Well, it's like, no, I'm saying like, I feel like there's a global sense between anyone younger in this generation where they're like, we don't need it. Like, unless we need some certification, like, we don't need it. And so now,
if you're a brain surgeon or
of course you need it then.
A rocket scientist,
I want them to need
like
it.
Photographer, interviewer, clothing designer, all this bullshit. Like, why are you making me take English literature 101?
But then you realize that's a business. Hey, cheers, man.
Cheers, bro. Oh yeah, I'm well aware. It makes me sad, to be honest. Like that.
Well, I think maybe that's why everything's happening later for people, is because we've hit a point where everyone's realizing, and I think everyone's going to go back to having trades and crafts and being experts at things, because we're not in that nuclear society where it's like, go there, get a job, get your pension, 401k, retire at 60, have kids, have a dog. Now it's like, no, you got to go get it. You got to go create it. You have to, you're going to go later in your life without having much money. And hopefully you get there without having to.
I think that's for us. I don't think that's for everyone.
Really?
Yeah. To be honest, in our town, there's always going to be that job.
It's true.
If we were somewhere else, maybe like Orlando or somewhere like that, it'd be different. But in our town, it'll always be that way just because the government's there. But I think before you always had that conversation like, oh, he's a fucking artist. I don't think we're going to have that conversation like before. Especially now. Like if you do HR at like Washington Post, you're well aware that the graphic artist lady over there in the corner who does the shit makes more money than you. You're like, oh, she just like, changes lines on the paper or some shit. But like, that's what it is. Like being an artist or creative nowadays in the corporate world is lucrative.
It is
especially
actually
for good.
They kind of want that sauce. They want that. They have to bring it in.
Definitely. But, at the end of the day, I'm thinking that we're going to rise. We'll probably be the only thing that could hold DC back is it does some DC shit. And when I'm talking about DC shit, I'm not talking about like us as in general, but like some really like politics bullshit. Like we all don't want to get along, so we fucking implode the shit.
Like we just keep getting divisive and we start getting like more racial towards each other, and everyone starts creating.
What we've realized is like in DC, there's all these different factions. I'm in my own faction. There's some other factions that don't like me. But what we've realized is like there's some people in all the factions that like each other.
That's my bone to pick with DC that I've never really noticed until I've like really been here, and that's I feel like a lot of the events and things that happens, they feel very not segregated, but they feel
they're cliquey.
They're cliquey and they feel excluded. Like I look like a white dude. I'm not going to go to an event.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Okay, let's do it.
Everything I told you about before about the people that made all this, they won by being cool by exclusion and not by inclusion. So when you go to places, that's why you feel like, oh, I don't feel welcome here because everybody's clicked up, because that's the thing they pushed. And like we got to this point because everybody was cool by exclusion instead of saying, oh, we're going to let you in. If you're whack, you're out. But no, they were like, no, if you're not cool, you can't get in. And it's kind of been to our detriment. It really has. Like, it makes me sad to a certain point because it's like there's a lot of cool people who just not like cool, but are talented, and you should be using them and trying to work with them.
So I guess you want to stay and kind of be a leader in DC. Like,
of course. Like I want to
put on for everyone else.
It kind of worked out that way because of that's how it worked out. I didn't even want it to be that, to be honest with you. But the thing is like nobody else wants to stand up and say this shit's not right. And because a lot of times I said that, it's like, well, I'm not so popular around people. But at the same time, everybody realizes like I'm not going to sit here and lie to you because I'm not going to let people take advantage of each other. That's what it is. And then, like, I want people to tell a true story. If you're not going to tell a true story, then, yeah, I'm going to ridicule you. That's it. But at the end of the day, if you tell a true story, like, it's all double V's. That's all.
Where, man, you think I could do that festival?
What festival? Any festival.
The festival that brings all the cool people together, bro.
To be honest, anything is possible. It's all about execution.
Vote told me that. He was like, you're going to be the one to bring them together. It felt like a prophecy moment. I was like, will I do it?
I hate to do this, but I gotta use the restroom.
Dude, no, it's cool. I mean, I don't know how long we've been going, but we can either end it here or keep going.
Whatever you want to do. I have to pee or I'm gonna die.
Let me see what time it is.
What times?
4:44. So we've been here for like, I don't know, an hour and a half. All right. You go pee.
Where's the bathroom?
And I'll edit this out the video.
Everything's going good.
Well, shit. Dude, we've been talking for like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I don't know. I was just gonna talk to you as long as you would talk to me.
No, dude, I can talk forever, but maybe I should look at my notes. I feel like we've literally covered everything.
Okay, cool. Just let me know.
I mean, I can sit here and bullshit, but if we got nothing else to say, we got nothing else to say.
That's cool.
I got no idea.
Let me know if you got any more points.
I don't know, man. What's next? What's coming up? What's in the oven?
Oh, we got. You want me? Okay, so
We have a collab with so May will be collab with a local futsal club.
Whoa.
Actually, they're the most popular futsal club in DC.
I didn't know there was a futsal club in DC.
Every Sunday they have like 80 or 90 people line up to play futsal.
What?
And I'm not only play soccer, but we were approached to do a collab with them. I want to drop their name, but they're one of the larger futsal clubs, and we really saw that it being a great opportunity to do like something in that, like, we never did anything soccer or anything that was like in that.
You do a lot of sports related
things,
designs.
but not really like, and especially not in that demographic. Like, we're talking about like a 20 to 30, 25 to 35 young male.
It's a different market.
Yeah,
a different market to reach.
Yeah, it's like this is a completely different market. So we felt it was great. And then,
how are you approaching a collab like that? Like, how do you approach something like that?
I mean, to be honest, my investor, like, he met with them, and then we talked to him, and then, we just looked at. I feel like if I look at your content, I'm pretty sure if we can work or not. And the thing is, just like, if your content's good, if your product's good, then we really do a real collaboration. It's gonna always come out good. Like, it's just no way it wouldn't. After that, though, then we got the big thing.
The big thing.
The big thing.
What's the big thing?
In June. The big thing is me and Vogue gonna get together.
Oh,
Simple to Society, enemies forever.
Two Asian dudes coming together.
Yeah, I've done it before, but it's a little different this time.
Dude, I really want to see you guys put out some pieces that are just insane.
Oh, me and Vogue already been designing.
Can you please make some pieces that are just like one of one that are just so insane that absolutely no one.
We're really like we're really putting together something for everybody.
Dang, that sounds crazy.
The wildest thing is in the DMV, I'm like Mr. Collaboration. If you look around, everybody else in the DMV, no one really wants to collaborate with people. If they do collaboration, it's never really like, no one cares.
Mm-hmm.
But when you collaborate with me, it's big. Like, the reason is I'll make sure that we put the work behind it to make sure it works. The reason it's going to work with me and Vo is because his following, my following, kind of are along the same lines. Even though he lives out in Virginia, like, Vo's from Silver Spring, just like me.
Yeah.
So, like, and our store is in Silver Spring. It's a slam dunk.
But yeah, we all identified as like a DC thing.
So it's like it'll be this, and then it's for the yellow community too. Like, I hate to say Asian community, it's the yellow community, but this is for the yellow community too. Very, like, in DC, you're not gonna see a whole bunch of. I am probably the most visible Asian creative. No disrespect to Vo, but like on the scene, like, I don't think you're gonna see.
I'm trying to think
anyone
really hard.
who's more like visible than, or not visible, but like as notable as I am. Like, everyone knows who I am when I walk into a room, not because just the clothing, because of the things that happened in the past. Because I work for the government. It's just like I have a large network, so.
So yeah, you're repping for the yellow people.
Oh, we definitely. But growing up yellow in America, it's hard. Like, Connie Chung or Jackie Chan are our only options. Like, or Martin Yan. If Yan can't cook, so can you.
Oh my God.
But, like, you just got to think, as a yellow person growing up, you never really felt like I could be a designer. Like, even though all the designers are yellow, they don't tell you that when you're like a kid, because the person whose name is on the brand isn't who's designing the brand. But like, if you go to every like design house, it's yellow people working there. So it's cool. But at the same time, I'd like a lot more yellow people to come to the forefront. I mean, it's just not normal in America. It's normal everywhere else around the world, like, especially in Asia.
Well, you got no choice there.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like, and I want to put, like, I don't want to sell myself as Asian. I'm really an American person. Only time I've been to Asia, I went to Thailand for 2 weeks, and I'm not from, my ethnic origin is in South Korea. So, like, I'm really American. And to be honest with you, like, I never felt more American than I went to Thailand.
Damn.
I had women from South Korea walk up to me in the subway and speak to me in English about directions and where to go, because they probably thought I was American.
It's weird. Like,
well, it's the thing is like American isn't an ethnicity.
Yeah.
American is just
it's a culture.
It's a culture. You're
like
American.
everyone from everywhere else can tell the moment you like walk in the room, like
that you're American.
You're American. It doesn't matter if you're yellow.
That's
like,
crazy.
It's wild.
That even there, they could just distinctively feel you out and be like, "Hey, what's up? Where the hell do I go, dude?"
I talked to my mom and I was like, "Why wouldn't they just speak to me in Korean if they thought that I looked like them?" And she was like, "Nobody thinks you're Korean."
That's so weird. That's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, all Korean people know they don't really relate to me as Korean. Like, I used to feel kind of resentful a little bit. Like, I wish I could get a little bit more support from the Korean community, but it's just like we're just culturally different. Like,
dude, you gotta speak in that microphone.
Oh, like they'd be like,
you can move it. Just move the whole thing closer to you.
It's just like being like, I always like to use the Hines Ward thing. Yeah, I don't know. You know who Hines Ward is? He played wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a half Korean and half black man. And he got the Super Bowl MVP one time.
Damn.
And apparently the Korean people did not know who he was until then. But you know what? Once he got Super Bowl MVP, they celebrated him like he was Joseph and he was giving back to his parents. Yeah, Hines Ward in the Technicolor coat. But I think that's what's gonna happen for me. If my dreams come true, I think my success will overcome the fact that I'm not truly Korean ethnically. But I think they'll respect me.
Do you feel like you've never were accepted in the culture?
Never.
Really?
No, not really.
Why?
I've never really. It's because I was just like I don't know what it is about me, but I've naturally always gravitated towards black culture. And black culture and Korean culture is not the same. It's like it's actually like very different. Like being loud and like having fun and like being boisterous is like looked upon as like not good in the Korean
you shouldn't do it. It's not how we.
So yeah,
move.
like we're humble, we're nice, we don't talk a lot. That's what they want to sell themselves at. And me, I'm not that kind of person. I speak my mind. I act boisterously. I'll curse somebody out. And at that point, maybe it's just like I'm just different, and I'm just very American in that kind of way. But to be honest with you, I became that way because in my generation growing up, we were very subdued. We didn't say things when we were upset. Somebody said something to us, we never said anything back. Like, it was like we were like being submissive.
Man, my perceptions of Asian cultures are very submissive in a weird way to say.
For me in America, that wasn't like how, I don't say my mom always told me to understand people. She never told me to be submissive. And it just really was like, I just never understood that. So I always bucked the culture. Like, I'm not going to be submissive to somebody's like that. And then Asian people got mad at me, but I was just be like, you're mad at me, but you're not mad at that guy who was just making fun of you and I had to stand up for you. Like, what the fuck? But at the end of the day, I guess a person, like, if you want to cause change, you're going to cause trouble. So I'm causing change.
I don't think anyone changed anything by conforming to how everyone thought, you know?
I think sometimes other people got to see you be a certain kind of way for them to think that maybe I could do that too.
It's true.
Because it's like,
you gotta be that beacon. You have to be that person who is so different that they feel okay within their little zone.
Like, it's like, you shouldn't have to think I'm being this way because I'm special. I'm being this way because I want you to stand up for you and I want to stand up for me. And that's just what it is. Being Asian, and just like, people don't talk about it like Asians a lot in America because it's like we're the model minority. We go to school.
That is true. Asians are dope. Y'all make good money. Y'all are smart.
Apparently.
Y'all open up restaurants that are great in Annandale. Like,
everywhere, apparently.
Everywhere. Shit.
That's the one thing about
but Asian people don't ever complain.
Oh, we do.
You do?
Just to each other. So you never hear. That's what the thing is. We're different people. We were raised to believe that, like, no matter how American we became, we weren't American. And it's like, and like, I believe I'm like, as far as my definition of American, I'm probably as American as it's probably gonna get. But like, my parents always let us know, like, you're gonna be Korean. Like, those people out there.
Do you see yourself like marrying a Korean woman?
I don't care who I marry.
Okay.
I always kind of felt like that was going to happen by like I accidentally got somebody pregnant or something, and I was like, "Oh, shotgun wedding. It's cool. I'm old."
Like, hey,
You're hot.
it's
It's
a
like, oh, we'll have some good looking babies. Whatever.
good time
I'll
anyways.
be like, that's how it worked back in the day. People don't know that. Like a lot of marriages they had back in the day, because people felt like the responsibility to get married because they had children out of wedlock. Like, how many people you know that really had children on purpose? I know like 3 or 4, but like all the rest of
planned
them,
that shit out.
like,
I don't know. It's pretty tough.
maybe like 4 or 5 people I know. Like the second kid's always planned out, but like the first kid is never really planned
It's
out.
like,
So,
oh shit. Okay.
like, and like the thing now is like, I think the Asian culture before, a lot of parents were together out of like they had to be,
Mhm.
and I think Asian people didn't want to be with any. But I think what we're starting to realize as we get older is like we need somebody that's more similar to how we were to our upbringing to like understand us totally.
Well, yeah, you identify with what you know.
Definitely.
You know, it's the fact that I don't date as many black girls is not because I don't think they're attractive. It's because I don't identify well
The
with them.
wildest thing is like from the time I started dating till I want to say I was like 27, I only dated black women.
Damn. Well, because you said you identified the
I
culture well.
was hung out with the black community, and I was
well,
like,
that makes sense
so it's
then.
just like, well, you know, I first dated the first person that was non-black that I dated was an Asian woman. She was Filipino, and
I say Filipino too.
it was like so cool to not have to deal with all the culturally weird shit. Like, you're not the same as me, but you're close enough. Your house smells funny when I walk in.
They're probably thinking the same thing about you.
So it's like, okay, cool. And then I dated a Korean girl, and to be honest with you, I didn't have great experience with that. So I was just like, maybe that Korean yellow is not the yellow for me. But at the end of the time, I talked to my dad, and he was just like, you know, you can't date somebody from Korea. They're gonna have some expectations of you that you're just not gonna be able to fulfill being American. I was like, what you trying to say? And then I thought about it, and I was like, you're right. Like, I don't care about all that bullshit. Like,
Word, man. Well, dude, I feel like we should probably wrap this up soon. We've been talking for like 2.5 hours. But before I go, I always like to ask this question. Do you have anything to say to someone who's like trying to do something similar to what you do, to the guy who wants to have that clothing line, to the guy who only knows you by your brand's Instagram or sees the moves you're making? Like, what would you say to that person? Like, is there anything positive? It's like, I don't know. Like, do you have anything to say to them that, you know, I'm sure you get these questions all the time in like the DMs and stuff, you know, but
to be honest, like what I want to tell everybody is it's the same thing. Like, in the world, I believe creatives are light. And those of us who are not creatives try to monetize creativity. They represent darkness. So if you're really trying to be out here and do your thing, you should view it as being a light and trying to shoot out into the darkness, break things, and try to make a mark. If you're not willing to do that, you should just go ahead and just let it be a hobby. Like it's no shame in doing it as a hobby. But like for all of those of us who are willing to commit to it and have faith that it's going to work out, we have to believe that we're light in a world of darkness. Like, it doesn't matter where we stand politically or like wherever or whatever it is. Like we represent light and creativity. Like, it's weird that I believe that creativity is light in the human nature, because it'll change everything. It'll make things work. So just keep being a light. Don't let the darkness take over you. Don't let the big companies say you're not worthless or tell you that you're worthless and you're not worth what you think you are. And also make sure that you like substantiate what you're in by comparing yourself to the best. If you don't want to compare yourself to the best, then go let it be a hobby. And that's it. You know, let's be light. Let's gather our light together. And when we gather the light together, then darkness can't stand in the light.
Dude, that's heavy, bro.
Dick Gregory.
Well, shit, man. Thank you for coming on, man. Cheers.
Appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's the angle. Peace. Oh, wait, I didn't say
What?
for where they could follow you and everything like that.
You can follow me on Instagram, Enemies Forever, or Without Cause on Instagram. If you want to buy something online, you could buy it at enemiesforever.com. Other than that, you come up to the store, Ward 9, 8634 Colesville Road, Silver Spring, Maryland, 4 doors down from the Fillmore.
Word. Well, for real this time. That's it.
All right.
That's the angle. Check them out. Peace.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. Whew.